tonight on 8.5-bit. You can keep playing with the puppy. 2018, James and Paul. Now click. 3 things. Welcome, friends of all science, to episode 247 of 8.5-bit, which I'm sure will be the last episode of 2018 of them all.
The most.
I'm your host, Paul, and joining me today is my good friend, James.
Hello.
James, what have you been doing the last, 4 or 5 months?
Got engaged.
Oh, yeah, you did do a thing.
Yeah, got my
I just want you to go, nothing, and
No.
then let's move on and just ignore about your...
No, I'm going to eat up time with my engagement.
That's right. And I was surprised it wasn't another fiddle ring.
No. So Cheryl and I had our 10th.
So camera, you can look at that, which is completely impossible to see.
Yeah,
this distance, especially with that crappy webcam.
It's got it's turquoise and wood inlay on the inside.
I believe that's Lily releases the poison.
Yes, it's and she has the antidote. That's how she keeps me.
We know that you can't do better. That's how she really keeps you.
Oh, so. This is one of Cheryl's things to say is because doctors are really busy.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things she often says to me is like, "Please don't leave me. I don't have time to find anyone else."
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, she can do better, but she does not have time to do better.
I got you early in med school. You're gonna have to do. I really have no time to do anything else.
If you're looking for a stable relationship,
no,
date someone going into med school because they don't have time to leave you.
Yeah. They're stuck with you.
Well, until they finally settle down. Once they're sort of 40, 45.
Oh, yeah, and they're working
quite a good wage.
Working
and they're more stable
3 days a week, getting
in a speciality.
$300 an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you're fucked.
Oh, yeah,
You are done.
Game developer.
Oh, yeah, you'll be a game developer when you're in your 40s. Those mobile games are still paying lots of money.
No,
they just inject inject the ads into your eyeballs at that point.
They now account for more than 50% of global game revenue.
I'm not surprised, but they only have 1% of the same paying players. For that 1%,
they pay big,
fuckloads.
Yeah, boy.
Look at you exploiting the vulnerable.
Fair call.
There's
it is a constant struggle.
I love how
it's
it's very jovial, but behind everything each of us have said, there's sort of painful truth behind every bit of it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that in 40 isn't that far away for me. I don't know if I'll be on mobile forever.
What year is it? I'm 35. I turned 35.
Yes, so I'm 36.
No, aren't you 36 in
January?
Days? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a December boy. He's a January boy.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna look up our Amazon wish list, which definitely exists, send us a Christmas present, a birthday present. Both.
Combine them.
Hanukkah presents.
Yeah.
You do get days of presents in Hanukkah, don't you? But it's all religious stuff generally. Yeah.
Ladles.
Dreidels. You're thinking of dreidel.
Dreidels, yeah.
But you do get a delicious ladle to get yourself some soup. But you don't come here for our insightful religious discussion. So I'll do a very, very brief, where have we been the last 4 or 5 months? I've just been not in a good place in my life and just did not record the show. That's pretty much it. Sometimes shit happens. But that's all right. We'll be back and we'll be doing something next year. As a general, if you want to be involved in doing something and you are not a 35-year-old man who grew up... Well, if you don't know what Space Goose is...
You're in!
That's a great sign. Because we don't need a third... a third James Paul. No. We want someone that's different. You're like, yeah. And you can still, if you are a third James Paul, you want to do it. We're not saying no either. Amy will be back and forth probably. She bowed out of today because she thought she'd only played 2 games in the last year.
I think we can look back at the previous episodes and prove that wrong.
Well, she forgot about Maple Story too, but that's still not released.
Making her dresses.
Yeah. Anyway, but now no one can talk about Spyro because neither of us have played Spyro.
No.
I mean, I played the original ones on PS Vita.
Was it on Vita?
Well, they had like a trilogy release because I got it because Amy was pushing me to play them. We were going to do a show where we forced each other to play nostalgic games.
Yeah.
I sort of skipped to the third one after really not enjoying the first one.
So yeah, I'd say if they lost you on the first one, then you're probably not going to.
It's a very, very, very basic game. And when I'm comparing it to things at the time of like Mario 64, like, but I mean, we'll jump into Spyro for a second. I think Spyro is probably like if you had a young child that was getting into games. It's like, there's not no challenge, but it's,
Well, I think back then that whole camera control was very new.
There was no camera control.
Oh, was it?
I think there is dual stick and new one. It was fixed camera in the first. So it was only movement.
Oh, maybe that's what made it a bit more accessible.
And very, very basic 3D navigation. Yeah. So yeah, I think it probably is pretty good. And it's like the combat is nothing.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Anyway, so we will try to talk a little bit about what we've done in the last few months, but that'll be tied into just talking about the year as a whole. And some of those games will come up because, well, they're part of the year that we played. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I got some presents for you.
I can see there's presents on the table.
Some of these presents are for you. Some of them aren't. Some of them I just put here because they're my last remaining presents that I haven't given out.
Oh, okay.
That square there, you can open that one.
Yes.
No, not that one.
This one?
That one's not for you.
Okay.
That one's for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
It's
got a bit of weight.
Now, the best thing about this is that this will mean nothing to the audience, which is why, like, let's do it on.
Let's do it on
in-joke
presents.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me some fixins, buddy.
Yeah.
Fixins for some s'mores.
Do it yourself. Some s'mores.
S'mores.
A s'mores kit so you can learn what a fucking s'more is and how to make one.
Oh, thank you.
Because
I appreciate that.
Incapable of it, but we don't need to explain the in-joke.
But that's cool.
But now it's recorded so my wife can see you receiving a s'mores kit.
All right, I'll bring some mixins.
This one's also for you.
Okay. This looks like some kind of action figure.
He knows the shapes.
I'm going to guess.
Imagine Paul with an action figure.
I'm trying. It's not like an amiibo or anything. It's not the right shape for it.
Oh, he's deducing this. Come on, Sherlock.
It's got like
some to your mind palace.
It's got some extra peripherals on the side, so it's going to have some attachments.
I don't think it attaches.
Okay, all right. No rattly bits, so I guess it's fairly
What would a
fixed.
rattle tell you?
Small bits.
Okay. I think it's a pretty solid one.
All right. I'm not sure. I'm just going to open it.
I mean, if you could work it out from nearly that, I would be mind blown.
Okay, it is Nintendo. It's
not Amiibo.
It's a blue Yoshi with a cool egg. See, I was right kind of about the attachment.
It does. It has an egg. A special egg.
It's got a special egg inside. And he walks or he articulates. So he can... cool.
I love how old and beaten down the box is. Yeah. But if you turn it over and look at the other games in the lineup,
it's actually pretty recent.
It's pretty recent. It's just they've taken very bad care of the box.
Yeah, it looks...
Which is what excited me.
I thought it was vintage.
Oh, yeah. So did I at first. It's not. It just gives the appearance of vintage by mishandling.
It's got Photon Suit Samus. That was one of the ones on the back. Was that from Metro Prime 2?
I think it was one of the primes.
Well, maybe 3.
It's got Squid Kids.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
There we go. Enjoy your Yoshi.
I'll put that next to the s'mores.
Now, where's my Christmas present? No, that's Amy's. And this big one that's bigger than all of your presents.
Yes.
That's for your wife, or future wife.
Which wife?
Yeah,
fiance.
She's the better one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because bigger, of course, the better kind of present.
It's not quantity.
Oh, exactly. It's just size.
Quantity.
Yeah. Anyway, enjoy.
Thank
I hope
you.
You had a happy Christmas.
I did have a good Christmas.
No, I was talking to the audience.
Oh, yeah, I guess I hope
I looked at the camera when I said that.
Oh, yeah, I hope you had a good Christmas.
Of course, nobody watches us, so no one will ever see me look
We've already discussed that.
Yeah. We have great listeners, and we have 2 watchers, but that's fantastic. It's interesting to see how many listeners we have back after an unannounced 4-month hiatus.
A huge spike.
We'll be back.
They're back. Those crazy kids.
Okay. So how are we going to do this? We want to. So I had we're not going to have too many specific awards today.
Mm-hmm.
There are 4 basic awards. There were going to be 5, but Amy's not here. Mm-hmm. That was going to be the Purple Dragon Award, so that she could give it to Spyro. But now no one gets.
I thought it would just go to a sex toy.
Well, now we give it to Monster Hunter World. That's all it said. So we're going to have the James's Time Waste loot box piece of shit of the year.
Oh, it's good to already have that one sorted out.
Yeah. Well, I see there's a few nominations for that one this year. It's quite amazing the amount of time you've wasted on terrible games.
Oh, God. every hour wasted bring me closer to death. Yeah.
And I haven't worked out what I want to do.
I've got an app on my phone,
Yeah.
which every day. So just put in you put in your age and kind of your gender, and that give you like a rough approximation.
It tells you how long you should play Destiny,
or how long until you die, basically, or your expected death.
Well, I mean, the same thing. That's it.
Yeah. And so when
you said you do this every day,
it actually sends me notification.
Why?
So I like being aware of my mortality. Because it gives perspective.
I just hope that one day you wake up and for some reason there's just like 7 years less than the day before. It's like, what happened overnight?
Yeah, I got real drunk.
Oh, we just got some extra data on you.
Uh-oh.
We tied it into your new My Health account. And
I opted out. I did my thing.
Yeah, I opted out as well.
My Health. Can't get my details, Queensland government. Which I actually don't mind if I trusted them to keep it.
Oh, I in the base concept of it, I
have no issue with it.
I think it's a wonderful idea that should exist. There's just they don't work out the details properly. They say we'll work it out later. Trust us. Like,
no, I don't.
That historically has not been.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, we won't get into the politics of such a thing. What were we talking about before that? You've ruined me with
mortality. Mortality and my death clock.
Your death clock, yes.
And wasting time playing loot boxes.
Oh, yes.
Each session taking a chunk of the time I've left.
The next award will be Paul's pretentious indie piece of shit, probably Metroidvania.
That's going to be a long list.
There's a lot of Metroidvanias this year. Unfortunately, then it's like, what was released this year? It was just
there's that really tricky thing with the Switch, isn't it? Like, there's a lot of re-releases.
Which gives us our second highest award, which is Game of the Arguable Year. Which is a game that might have come out this year, it might have just been played, or maybe was early access or something.
It gets real hard.
And then we'll work out some sort of Game of the Year, which I'm going to say now is Fortnite.
It's high on my list.
I've played 3 matches ever of Fortnite. You've won a Fortnite before.
I did. I got a chicken dinner.
Yeah, it's not chicken dinner in that. It's something else.
I think something. I wasn't winner. Something.
You got a Royale with cheese.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, no game has touched the world's consciousness more than Fortnite. There was the other day, I see this little kid, and he is just standing idly bored. He's idle bored. He just can't help but just slightly floss. Like, that's just his natural position now. That's what the youth are. Mm-hmm. They're just Fortnite dance mimickers that are just obsessed with it. It's not for me. It's like you remember one year we gave Pokemon Go the Game of the Year. I played it for like 5 minutes. Yeah. And I played it more this year, actually. I played it for like 3 weeks this year. It's gone again. Hate it. But it was inarguably the most important game of that year.
That's, I guess, like the criteria for like the way I pick things for these lists is first I have to have played it. Yes. I don't like to just like, I might not have played it much, but I have to play it. And I do try to look at it objectively. What's its impact? Is it a well-designed game? I might not necessarily even like it that much, but is this objectively a well-made game?
Yeah, and sometimes even if everything's bad on that, it's still a game that's worth discussion.
Yeah. Because there are some things, the things I enjoy the most often aren't great games. Yeah. And so I try not to make it what have I enjoyed, more what do I think is a good example of a well-made game.
And by the way, we're not giving our award to Fortnite. we don't have to do that. I'm just saying that if it was objective, probably it is that. Everyone's like, there's a Red Dead of God of War. Like, it's probably Fortnite. Probably Fortnite if you're going to play that game of like, what's the biggest impact? Oh man. Are you looking forward to the Red Dead discussion?
Do I have it on a list? I don't. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Look, I've been putting it on my list, and Red Dead Redemption 2 has definitely, it's just scraped in the top 100.
Got in there?
Yep.
I've definitely put it...
not much higher than the top 100.
Because are we going to get into Red Dead?
You know what? We missed Red Dead's release. Yeah. Let's spend the 3 minutes Red Dead deserves.
So, I think it kind of follows on from what I was just saying about... when I look at like what makes a good game, I try to look at it like as an example of kind of like gameplay mechanics, art, music, like how does it all come together as a package.
When did Red Dead Redemption 2 lose you?
I think because I probably played maybe 4 or 5 hours of it.
I love how both of us have very low hours in it, which is also, I mean, the strongest thing about the game from everyone that likes it.
No, I'll tell you the moment
is narrative based, and that narrative doesn't kick in until further in the game. So if you are struggling with it, you will tend to have a pretty low hour count on the game because it's rough.
I tell you that. Okay, the point it lost me was I started a mission.
Yes.
And I found the controls were a huge issue, but I got past them. And I was just having the auto travel thing. I don't know. I was speeding up, and someone got in my way. I bowled into them. Mm-hmm. I got a wanted level.
Yes.
And now I suddenly had this fight, like this chaos that came out of it. And it was juxtaposed against the way the game presents itself. Didn't work.
Yes.
And that was a point where I went, okay, you've kind of gone for, like, chaos can kind of... Whoa, dogs got excited. Chaos can present itself, but when it does it, because of the way they're trying to tell the story, that it just doesn't work. Like, it kind of ruins the illusion.
Yes. I agree with that sentiment, and I think we should talk about it a little bit more, because it's a very, very interesting game. The moment it lost me was incredibly early. So you've done your first ride, so it's about 7 hours into the game.
Yes.
And sorry, that was my wife coming home. That's what it was. So it's very, very early in the game.
Yep.
You've just had your first firefight, which didn't seem needed, but it happened anyway. And it said, okay, now we're going to have the picking things up tutorial. And it presented me with 3 different buttons to pick up 3 different things.
Yeah.
And I went, this game didn't have a fucking game designer. Like the fact that this game has been in development for 1,000 years, and I have a button for picking up hats, I have a button for picking up guns, and I have a button for picking up objects. Why this exists, this is just emblematic of what I'm going to run into. And I didn't stop the game there. I obviously kept playing, because I mean, that's literally 15 minutes into the game, if that. But it lost me at that point. I was like, this game has no focus. It's so many people throwing so many things at it. And some, like, technically, it's the past. It's like, technically it's amazing. But we also don't say Michael Bay movies are the best movies in the world just because they have incredibly advanced special effects. It's how things are applied.
Yeah, so, because, like, from a technical and, like, even from an art perspective, the game's amazing. Like,
I think art as in visuals.
Yeah,
I think art as in actual artistic presentation, I think it's quite flawed.
Yeah, so, like, just one of the cinematics I was watching, like, the thing was shot like a movie, but it was also dealing with, like, dynamic lighting in a way that looked really natural, because I just happened to be there at dusk, and the whole scene played out. I mean, the lighting was all perfect. My wife walked past as I'm playing it, and she's like, wow, that looks amazing. She never comments on games I'm playing. Yeah, so there are parts of that game which are so incredibly decadent. And I can't help but be awestruck when I'm, like, playing. I'm looking at, like, this is a single cutscene, but it's been in development so long with so many people and so much money. It's just phenomenal. But
you know what gets me? This is always my problem with realism, both a presentation of gameplay aspects, but also just presentation visually. When you make something so realistic and so amazing, I suddenly become incredibly nitpicky. Yeah. I go like, wow, this scene looks amazing, but what the fuck's with the texture on that railing? I mean, Jesus, it's like, why do I care about the texture of railing? I play terrible looking games, and I don't care. Yeah. And now suddenly I'm looking at one of the most amazing looking games of all time, and I'm worrying about a certain texture.
Running on console hardware as well. Yeah. It's an interesting one.
I think it has a very methodical pace. And the thing is, conceptually, this is exactly the sort of thing that I like. Mafia 1 is one of my favorite games, partly because it has a lot of boredom in it. And this game has a lot of downtime and a lot of boring things, and that can be immersive. But again, it comes to realism to me. Someone made a very good comparison that Red Dead Redemption 2 is this generation Shenmue, which is walking up opening cupboards going, wow, I can pick this up, and rotating it in your hand and putting it down, and then realizing, why did I have to do any of those things? None of those assisted gameplay. None of those really gave me a mood. But what I have now is, you walk into a room, the game is full of restrictions. It's like, oh no, in this area you're not allowed to run. You can't pull out a gun here. You can't do that here. You can't, just constantly restricting you. It's not supposed to be open world. There was
some mission in particular where, like, I had the option. It was like some confrontation with someone, and I thought, I'll just shoot the guy. Yeah, and I didn't have failed the mission. Like, but I'm a cowboy. There's a mission that's shoot the guy.
That's very, because Rockstar has strict mission design. They don't embrace the concept of open world. Which is so crazy at this point. They haven't evolved with the industry. They were the forerunners, and now they're so behind everyone else. Because there's this one mission it's when you first get basically a sniper rifle. And once you're given control, and there's going to be a firefight up ahead, and next to you is a ladder up to a roof. So every single person I know that started that mission has climbed that ladder, and that roof is out of bounds, and you fail the mission instantly. It's like, why is that ladder there then?
Yeah.
And also, it should be there, and you should be able to go up there and use your rope, because it's an open world game, and you should be able to explore these possibilities. But no, that's not how they want you to play it.
Yeah, it's not the
so mission failed.
Yeah.
And
start again.
Restart.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, it's not a mission that makes you ride another 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like GTA 5, like, solved a lot of their problems with the world and how the player relates to it with their 3 characters.
Yeah.
I thought that was a genius move. I'm disappointed that didn't make its way into here. Like, I just really like that for the catering for the different players. It just works. It's just like, you want to be crazy, be Trevor. If you want the story, be Michael. You know,
I mean, and there's so many possibilities of like, okay, there's multiple people in the gang doing things with different personalities, and then they were building it for multiplayer from the ground up, which I haven't touched the multiplayer at all. I can't comment.
I've loaded up a little bit,
but it's like, well, you could have just multiplayed as a crew as those characters and like actually be able to play through the single player narrative with it. I'm not telling them how to design it with that. That's just one of a million possibilities. But they didn't seem to do anything other than what they've always done, which seems incredibly short-sighted, especially with the amount of money they're putting into it. I mean, look at the hours I pumped into Breath of the Wild and like that. And I'm not a huge open world person, but things working together, that systemic stuff is just like, that's what makes it work. And this game has lots of systems, but the only time they seem to really come into play is when things fuck up, like you accidentally hit someone walking through town.
I don't want that.
and or you go out of bounds. It's all this stuff that is out of your control, but not in a fun way. Like nothing cool comes out of it. Just bullshit comes out of it.
I found that the random content was presented in a fairly unorganic way, where like if I was walking along, a random encounter would be like a little marker that appeared on the map.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, come over here or something. And that might start an event, but it didn't. And I know I've been told of other things happen later on, which are kind of far more organic.
There is some pretty cool stuff with that.
There is a lot of really cool stuff.
That's the much better kind of stuff. It's the actual story missions that are the big.
And I probably should be clear that both of us are just talking about effectively the first impressions.
Yes,
because neither of us are more than
so early.
Yeah. So if you've stuck with it and gotten further along, and you know you found that it's been better, that's great. But at least from like as a product which is presented to us, if I've given it like 10 hours of time, and it still hasn't really shown me what makes it good. Yeah. That's just not. It's not really that great. Like you know, like, do I really want to keep putting in more time to something which I'm not having that much fun with? I did give GTA Online a bit of a go.
Red Dead Redemption 2?
Sorry, Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. Sorry, and I enjoyed that more because it was just a bit more gamey. Like it doesn't fuck around. It's like, all right, we've rescued you from your starting troubles. Now go to this area to get your quest to like go talk to this person, which is kind of introducing you to the different activities in the world. But go do whatever. And it just felt more like, oh, okay, well, I'll just kind of go off and explore and have fun.
I also liked, I was thinking about my comments earlier in the year when they first released the trailers and stuff. And if you remember, I was going, this isn't gameplay. They're not showing the menu prompts. They're not showing the menus go through because there's no way this game is going to be like, you go and kill a thing, put it on your horse, ride to town, take it off your horse, literally carry it in, slam it down the counter. It's like, nope. They were pretty honest about it. I was just thinking it was going to be a game, and it's just that much more physical. And the thing is, that's great. Except then it runs into all these problems of just like, someone's gone and hunted a legendary pelt, and honestly, legendary pelts probably shouldn't exist if they're making a realistic based game. It should just be. But anyway, you got to get those points. You got to fill out that checklist. And then like, oh no, but now I've got a mission and I can't get it off my, like, if I take it off the horse, I lose it and stuff like that. And there's so many just weird, like, okay, shooting is very easy in the game because it's very generous auto lock. But hitching your horse to a hitching post may as well be a game made in like 1998.
Well, even using things, you got to make sure that you're facing it. Like to use the camp like upgrade book. It's like, okay, you got to make sure it can't be from the side, you got to be from the front, and you got to kind of make sure you rotate around, but because you've got inertia to movement, it's really easy to hit forward and you go past. This is real hard, guys. I'm just trying to upgrade my camp.
I was thinking about it like Inside. Inside was just so, no matter where you were around an object, it was so easy to interact with it and it did what you wanted. In this, it's every object is a struggle. And a point I was making ages ago when I sort of went off on the realism thing is like, okay, so you can pick up objects and look at them and that half eaten can of beans. I'm going to stick that in my pocket. Yeah, upside down shit. But the problem with realism in games is that you walk into a room in real life and you just like, you can look around and see what everything is and you know what it is. Still can't really do that in a game. And the thing is, you can still only interact with like 10% of those things in the room. It's like, you know what? This is why things like objects glow and stuff in games and everything, because we need to identify what is an interactable object and what isn't. And if you push more and more for realism, you start getting trouble of it not being realistic. Yeah. And I'm not expecting it to be, because that's an insane promise of like a fully, like every object in the world having properties and being interactive. That's insane. But they kind of want it to be, but they can't do it. I just spend my whole time being frustrated, banging my head against doors that doors that don't open. I guess that's the thing. You know. Yeah,
because like there was early on in the game, because I thought, I'm going to play this a little bit like Skyrim, right? Like I'm just going to kind of go off the path and go up and explore. And all I really did was run into, doors I couldn't open, or quests that I couldn't start yet, or like it didn't really feel like the world was very big, but I didn't really.
It's quite restrictive.
Find anything in it. It was sort of like, oh, okay. Like I've gone to a homestead and none of the doors open. I assume there'll be some quest here later.
I was thinking at the beginning when you're doing the first ride through the snow, and I'm not really watching the environment because it's not a particularly spectacular way to open the game in the snow, but that's a choice. And the dialogue isn't particularly captivating. It's doing a lot of like hinting about things that have just happened. But you'll find out about it later. I'm like, what would have been interesting? Starting with a thing that just happened that was interesting. But I think most of the time, yeah. I think it's a bullshit narrative technique to start after the interesting event and then have everyone not specifically say what happened. But I spent most of the time trying to turn the camera to work out what character was mine talking, because I don't know my character's voice. And they're all kind of gruff men. I'm like, okay, well, whose lips are moving at the moment? Okay, that's you. Man, you just look at the back of everyone's head. Like, it's not a strong intro. Yeah. It's just like, it's one of those things where everyone sort of had some de facto, like, this will be game of the year, this will be interesting. And say honestly, it's probably middle of the ground this year in things that have impressed me. And that's still just being generous because it's such a technical achievement. Artistically, I think it was completely corrupt. Oh, not corrupt. Just nothing.
Lackluster.
Yeah, lackluster with it. Yeah. And obviously, people tell me the narrative turns great. Okay.
I believe it.
It has an epilogue that people say takes about 8 hours. And it's not an interesting either. Like, wow, and Red Dead 1 had its epilogue and everything, which was, recontextualized a few things, but anyway. Red Dead Redemption 2, any other thoughts before we move on?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah. I don't think it would not crack my personal top 10.
It didn't for me. No.
Because you've actually got a 10, don't you?
I do have a top 10.
I've come into this recording completely virgin.
No, I did. I listed my top 10 things.
Okay. Is there anything you want to talk about before we just start going through a couple of games of the year?
Let's do it.
Okay. I suppose before we do our games, we can mention that there was the Game Awards,
which were good this year,
which was a pretty entertaining show.
Yeah, I was really impressed with how that went down.
I think if you're taking notes, Jeff Keighley, all I really want is not quite glossing over some of the awards as quickly as they did. Give them at least a minute, but also when you're talking about games, especially the smaller ones, show them. Like when they did the Student Awards, the winner was Combat 2018, which I assume is a play on original Combat. I don't know what that game looks like, and Googling Combat 2018 did not help.
Oh, no, that's not a good search term.
They're changing the name.
Good.
Yep, it's like, I don't know what any of those games look like. Probably would have been interesting to have like even a 10 second of each just to say like, okay, contextually you understand what this looks like and what the kids were doing. Because student, did I say that was student game?
Yeah, student game, yeah. Because I generally like the format they had though of like awards, announcement. Like it kept it kept it interesting, kept the pacing of it.
It's a very it's partly sad but realistic that our industry awards have to be filled with announcement of new games to keep people interested. But most awards are very boring. About the only awards...
I'm not going to watch the Oscars.
The only awards I enjoy watching are the Tonys, because those people know how to do a Broadway show. Yeah. And most of the good bits are because they just put bits of Broadway shows in between. Yeah. And that's kind of what we're doing here. Yeah. And they had the orchestra was really, really good. I like when they did the actual Game of the Year announcement. They gave each of the nominees a section of music with gameplay behind it, and they were just playing on stage. It was a really nice way of doing it, I thought. Oh god, I forgot to look it up. Who announced the Game of the Year themselves? But when they came out to announce it, they said, "Lottie Dottie, who's got the Gotti?" Which was so very good. And we can comment on a few of these as we go. So I was very happy. One of the early ones was Dead Cells was given Action Game of the Year.
Very good game.
Which was a game I put very high last year, which was technically in early access.
Yes, it's in our arguable game.
Yeah, in our arguable Game of the Year, because it's like I put it in the list last year, but it didn't come out till this year. So when they were doing Sports Racing Game of the Year, I thought this was very telling of the industry. So sports games and racing games are some of the highest selling games, but as far as the enthusiast industry goes, we don't care very much, especially on the sports side. Racing's cool, yeah. And the winner was Forza, which is we all enjoy Forza. Although I haven't played Horizon 4 yet, that's on my pile of shame.
Yeah.
But when they came out to announce it, Ed Boon came out to announce it. He goes, "Okay, so here are the nominees," and then they play a trailer for the new Mortal Kombat. So I was like, okay, people don't care enough about this award enough that we can make a joke and announce another game instead. And then they still did the award, at least. But that was good, and that was a very violent Mortal Kombat trailer. It's just more Mortal Kombat. I didn't know what was. It was a cinematic. Couldn't tell. Almost everything announced was just with a cinematic, so I couldn't really tell much about any of the games. So Forza won that. We got Into the Breach strategy game, The Messenger, which we haven't spoken about the show before. I'll talk about that more later, I think.
Yeah, you've played a lot of that,
That got a debut indie game. Obra Dinn got art direction. Red Dead Redemption 2 got a bunch of little awards. Oh, not like narrative, audio design, I think a couple of other ones. Score and soundtrack. I mean, I can't comment on the narrative because I didn't get far enough to care.
The music's good.
It's a big one. It's good music, Celeste got independent game and also something called Games for Impact, which to me seems to be one of those nebulous things. It's like, okay, well, you deal with themes that have to do. It's like, okay, I mean, Celeste was a great game and fair enough. Overcooked, Overwatch got esports game. Weird ones. Monster Hunter World. Very good game. We spoke about it a lot on the show. I think it would be probably, if not in, at least close to our top 10s each.
It's high.
Yeah. I would care about. I like that game a lot. It got role playing game of the year.
I guess what was it up against?
I didn't bring those up.
Yeah. It could have been one of those things where they needed to kind of slot it in somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can say it is an action RPG. Just
it's got role. It certainly has role playing elements. You know what? It has more role playing elements than the winner of the Australian Game Awards RPG of the Year, which was Detroit Become Human.
Yes,
that it takes me back to when I was a young child, and I used to say Monkey Island was a role playing game because you played a role. And whilst that's semantically accurate, Paul, not the intent of the words.
Your game has your player has agency. You're playing a role.
It's true.
Role-playing game of the year.
Obviously, I'm not saying much on any of these. VR game of the year went to Astrobot.
And having played that now, I'd agree.
Very good. And game of the year went to Dylan, God of War.
Totally deserved.
Incredibly impressive game. Yep. We both enjoyed it a lot. Did you eventually finish it?
Oh, yeah, I finished it.
Oh, yeah. Did we ever... We didn't talk about the ending privately.
Yes.
I don't think we talked about it.
No, I don't think we did.
Callum, I know you listened to us. You haven't finished it yet. Please finish it so we can talk about the ending.
Finish it, yeah. Because I think, unlike Red Dead, I feel like God of War was just a solid package across the board.
Yeah.
Like it was...
Its biggest problem is boss design in that it was a bunch of ogres reskinned.
Yeah.
With 3 non-ogre bosses.
Yeah. That was, the weakest part was the bosses. Yeah. Apart from that game did pretty much everything right. Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see where that series goes now. I did not think I would be that excited by the narrative and even just the incidental storytelling in that game, telling tales on the boat and everything. I love stuff like that. It's just like it really just imbues the world with so many ideas, and it's remix of Norse mythology.
Which is a pretty nebulous thing anyway. The more, because I was looking into the history of Norse mythology, where I was like, there's a lot of different variations of stories. It's like, this isn't the lockdown pantheon. There's a lot of variation you can play with here. But they've just done their own thing, and it's really good. And it played very well.
Very good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I did pretty much all the side content in that, all the side stories in that game. I didn't finish all the Valkyries.
Yes, I know it had like a pretty big end game that I didn't really play much with.
That's mainly the Valkyrie hunt.
Yeah.
But you can go and do all the stuff you haven't done. But I pretty much did all those during it anyway. There were all the side quests for people. No, they were all pretty narrative driven.
Yeah, because I mostly mainlined it. Mm-hmm. But that was still a very meaty, enjoyable experience.
Oh yeah,
I sort of finished it. I was like, okay, I'm perfectly satisfied. Had a good time. I could see there was, especially from the gear side, I was probably like halfway through the gear progression. There was a lot. There was a lot of. I don't think I even had legendaries there at that point. So I could see, if you want to keep playing this, there's a lot.
It's funny, like games like that where it's like you get to the end and you've still only got half the potential gear. Yeah. But then there's games like The Messenger, which I'll talk. I'll also wait till later. Yeah. But like halfway, maybe 2/3 of the game, you've got everything unlocked. It's like, yep, you've got all the skills, everything. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You didn't want to wait for those abilities. You got them now. Yeah. Why would we wait till the end game? Wait till the mid game, and now you get to play with everything. Thank you, game. Mm-hmm. That's great. But I mean, different designs there. It was God of War was very good.
Yes, very good.
Yes. And that can do us for the Game Awards. I was going to go through games they announced, but you know what? That can be the next show, which is looking forward to 2019 and what's coming out. I suppose the only things that they announced that are relevant are games that came out suddenly, which were... we got... actually, I can't remember what was Game Award and what was kind of funny and everything. It doesn't really matter. We got surprise release of Ashen.
Yep, Ashen came out exclusive to
the Epic Game Store.
That was one of the very interesting things that happened.
The big thing at the end of the year
was the stores. The stores...
Store battles.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about more of this in the 2019 episode.
It's relevant to 2018.
But things are going to get real interesting in regards to stores.
Yes, so Epic Game Store now has its store. Discord launched its store. Something else had a store launch recently. So a lot of them were pitching, basically giving better cuts to developers. Yeah. And we don't need to go to the politics of that particularly. But... the one thing that's happening so far, and it's hit you, and it's hit me, and it's a bunch of people, is that games like Ashen released, Below finally released after 7 years or so. Then you go to the store, you think it's on, and it's not there.
It is, yeah. In fact, that happened to me just yesterday when I thought, Below was out. And I just went, okay, Below, Xbox exclusive, Windows Marketplace. And I type in Below, it's not there.
Not there.
And it's a B space low? And then I was like, I asked you, and you're like, oh no, here's the Steam link.
Here's the Steam link,
what? This was
Ashen released, and Ashen was being pushed by Microsoft the whole time. It was advertised as a cross-play title between PC and Xbox. It had been previously mentioned as a Game Pass game. It launched. I'm like, you know what? I might just subscribe to Game Pass again. There's a few games on there that came out recently that I'd check out.
Check out Forza and all that.
Mutant Year Zero. Mutant Year Zero might be one of these as well. It is not cross-platform. In fact, Ashen's not even on the store.
Yep.
You can't get it. You have to get it through Epic Game Store. It's exclusive. And so whilst it's good that we're getting competitors to Steam, so far, actually not any consumer benefit at all other than consumer confusion. And we're starting to get to like the Netflix problem where everyone had Netflix, everyone wanted it, but every media distributor said, hey, why are we giving them money?
We'll have that money. Yeah.
So now you spend half, if you want to try to find something specific, you spend half the time trying to find out what service it's on when you know what's much easier. Piracy.
Yeah.
So I hope that these things consolidate quickly and sort of because I mean at the moment Epic's taking 12%. Steam historically takes 30%.
And Epic, if you use the engine, it's
the
nothing.
engine takes no royalties. Yeah. If you release it at Epic Games, say on Steam, you'd have to pay them.
You have to pay
royalties. But at the moment, they still, even with a huge Fortnite user base, that's not a paying store user base. So I'm going to assume sales would be much less on Epic Store, even though you're getting a better cut. So we'll see how that goes out. But at the moment, I assume they're paying for some sort of exclusivity.
I mean,
as well.
From the developer's perspective, for me, like there's you see a lot of news reports talking about cuts.
Yeah.
And from like my perspective, it's kind of a bit irrelevant because the biggest problem that games have at the moment is discoverability.
Yes.
And that's something which Steam has, ever since Steam lost their curation, it's been destroyed. Like, it's basically turned into a mobile app store. Like, it's now, you can put something on Steam, who gives a shit? You're going to sell 5 copies. And so when they start talking about, this has got this cut and this has got this cut, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't
matter if nobody sees it.
You're talking about cuts of $100. So it feels a bit like very consumer focused. Like, they're trying to put forward this, our cuts, like this goodwill. And I think most developers, people that have experienced releasing things look at it and go, like, this isn't solving the problem, guys.
What can you do to actually promote me and get people buying the game? And the thing is, at the moment, Epic is incredibly curated. Everything's going through. And that is changing as soon as they can next year, where it'll be an open platform. And that is the point where we'll really see what happens.
Yeah.
Because people were sort of celebrating the idea of a curated platform again. And I don't know if that's people making. I think that's what everyone that isn't making a platform wants. But everyone making platforms is like, why would we stop people selling anything they want on our store? Like,
because I want more point of differentiation from Steam.
Yeah.
More than just developer cuts. Because if anything, it's just going to split the market and make it kind of more difficult. Like, it's now because there's an
update now. You got to put that update out on 5 different platforms.
Well, yeah. It's like there's a certain opportunity loss, like cost of you having to spend time getting it on all the different platforms. So
you have your game intertwined with Steamworks sort of multiplayer
Steamworks.
stuff.
Epic's got their new thing coming. Discord's going to have their friends listing. It's just going to be like, well, is it worth me spending even a day on? Is this let's say a week to say get the services integrated when it's going to make me $5 or something? Like, it's so.
And the thing, if it's a multiplayer focused title, if you don't sort of make those systems work together in some way,
then you got to worry about cross-platform,
you got a bunch
cross-service,
of different splitting your own user base, and like all those things are solvable, but it's extra work and it's making sure. I'm very interested to see what happens. Really, 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 what I just want it to scare Steam into fixing this shit.
That would be nice. Yeah.
But Epic's in the strongest position. They just made $3 billion profit this year. That's profit. Yeah. That's not important.
I feel like Epic is in a similar position to Valve when they had Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
When they're like, we can use this Half-Life 2 to force this Steam thing, like on a bunch of angry gamers. Yeah, they kind of got that with Fortnite. They've already got a lot of those installers out there. So they're kind of in one of the best positions.
The other game that released exclusive on Epic Games Store was Hades.
Yes.
Which is Supergiant's new game. It's a mythological dungeon crawly roguelike thing. Although it's not that roguelike-y. So it's more roguelite in that, like a rogue legacy. Every time you run, you're getting more powerful, you're getting more gear, everything's building
Which is
up.
the kind of mechanic I generally like.
But they have the additional thing of when you go back to your home base, which is basically your house which is full of gods, and they've got some fun sort of recontextualization. I haven't played it. This is just what I've heard about it. But that's where they do narrative stuff. So you die, you go back, and you chat to everyone and see how stuff's going, and that's how the narrative drives forward. So it's like dying is actually a good thing
because you get more.
Because it's like, I get to find the next part of the story if I die. So it's less. There's more benefits to dying than just losing your shit and having to start again. That sounds pretty good. I'll check it out, but it's exclusive for early access, which they're expecting going to be about a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
So they're taking their time with it, but it does mean
it's going to be great when I play it on Switch.
Yeah, that's my feeling. In a year and a half, I'll buy it on my Switch too.
It's going to be all super popular.
No, it'll be new Switch.
New Switch. The new Super Switch.
Or maybe Switch XL or something. No, I don't want an XL.
No, the size is good for the Switch.
Yeah,
it's
I don't want it any bigger.
I wouldn't mind the screen going a little bit further out to the edges. I want the form to stay the size, but maybe the screen a little bit kind of pushed out.
Could do.
But it's pretty good as it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Okay. Shall we talk about the nominees for James's bullshit?
My bullshit, which I labeled live service games, top 5 live service games.
Oh, see, that might be. It's
a little
exactly bit different. The same. Oh, actually, it kind of did all turn into that. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So here's my top 5 live service games.
Okay.
So my number 5 was Elder Scrolls Online Somerset. Which was a continuation.
I'm just don't worry about what I'm doing.
Which was a good continuation of the kind of Elder Scrolls kind of current model of they're going to make kind of sizable chunks of content, which are kind of like give a kind of big strong story to play through. It didn't quite hit the same kind of nostalgia bones as Morrowind did, but still nicely presented. Still good.
Good.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
I'm showing interest.
Yeah. The game still looks great. I wish they'd look a bit more on the kind of combat core systems, because in a kind of Australian latency, you can feel not quite as responsive as you like, but still generally pretty good. So that was my number 5. My number 4 live service game was the World of Warcraft expansions, Battle for Azeroth, which as a kind of single player game to play through, like just playing through the main campaign, I felt was very satisfying and I enjoyed it. I liked that they kind of split the game basically into 2 parts, with the Horde and Alliance being quite separate in terms of like the themes and kind of... How'd your drawing go on there, buddy? Are you doing some ordering? Yeah.
Oh, just marking games that we should talk about still.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm just giving you... This is just Paul's time to...
Because I've got my... I actually fucked up. I've got my top 102 games.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just narrowing it down to a discussable
So you got
amount.
maybe another couple of minutes of me going on about this.
How many minutes has it been so far?
Probably about 1. All right, I'll just keep going. So it was the expansion was good enough for Battle of Azeroth for me to kind of play through all the main story. I feel like eventually I played through Horde. Eventually I'll probably jump over and play through Alliance, because it is very different, a bit more kind of like Lovecraftian style, where the Horde stuff was more kind of Aztec kind of stuff. So my number 3 live service game was Destiny 3 Forsaken. A fantastic expansion to the game, which solved a bunch of the problems. They adding in the new subclasses gave me a good reason to come back and kind of play that and kind of get some new toys to play with. The best thing they did was kind of change the way the weapons work. So they moved to some of the power weapons, which would be traditionally you'd kind of use more often, like shotguns and sniper rifles, out of the power weapon slot into the special weapon slot, so you could kind of play with them more. So that really kind of mixed up the gameplay. Really liked the kind of the theming of the expansion. I liked that I understood the story, which was good. But yeah, they probably the coolest thing was like the live servicey part. Was they had a whole area at the end, this whole kind of new zone that you could kind of play through, which was which was just for once you finish the main story. Looks amazing, and they kind of kept it under their hat a fair bit, so it was quite a surprise when it's like, oh cool, I got this kind of whole thing. I mean, they did announce that there was going to be this kind of endgame area, but it was like kind of getting there and exploring through the breadth of it was really cool. So my number 2 live service game,
2 more to
go, goes to one of the best gaming comebacks of the year, which was No Man's Sky. They did a fantastic job at...
It has been incredible how much No Man's Sky has changed.
Yeah, given the backlash that game had, those developers, Hello Games. And
they announced a new game as well.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. It's just a little game, 2 people. Basically, the people that made Lost Winds, if you remember that little game. Yeah. They came on and they've been making a cute little game.
Okay, that's cool.
But anyway, yes, No Man's Sky.
As a developer victory, I think it's fantastic. Like they really could have just sort of like shut down shop and gone, fine, we're not going to bother with this. But they stuck with it. They kept working on it.
I think as they added more and more content,
added
in some actual multiplayer, and it was sort of one of those things where you're like, okay, I can see there's more to do now. But then when I saw the way that they added community events that actually bring people together and have ways of like leaving things for other people, and you can see sort of this impact, I'm like, now you're starting to turn it into something. Now this is like something you can actually get some teeth into and fucking do something with.
I feel like there's still a bit to go. But I just hope they just keep supporting it, because what's there is really good. They've shown that they've got the kind of the grit to kind of get through the kind of the bullshit and stick to the vision and actually achieve it. Like if this had been what they shipped, it would have just been amazing. Like what they have now.
It probably like, even though it's still not what people's dream was, because people's dream was unrealistically insane. But I think if it had gone out in this state, people would have been like, it's actually
really good. Yeah. So it's the kind of game where if you can pick it up for cheap, because this thing goes on sale all the time, totally worth it, because it's a free update. And it's now a very good game. Yeah. Probably the weakest part of it still is the actual ship flight. Like the flight model is terrible. It's bad enough that I will play with mouse and keyboard.
It's still improved a lot from what it started as.
But I still will not use a mouse and keyboard to control that ship. No. I have to use a controller. It's just it's kind of hot trash playing on PC. Yeah. Play with the controller, at least for the flight.
I was thinking, what was hot trash played with keyboard and mouse? I'm like, Anthem's flight.
It was alright. I didn't know.
It was alright once you turned the sensitivity to zero, and I was like, now kind of makes sense. You guys need to. Have you guys played Halo? you should look at the way a vehicle controls in that, because I can see you're trying to do that, but you fucked it up real bad. But with a controller, I couldn't get the controller working. Are we allowed Anthem we're not really talk about, are we? Because it was an NDA or some sort. No one cares. It's still a pretty public thing.
Yeah.
Anthem might be live game next year.
It could be.
It was. Yeah. I really liked it. I liked it a lot other than the shitty flight model.
Yeah, I had a lot of fears kind of squashed from playing that alpha. Yeah. Anyway, just to finish this off.
Number one
live service. No, Fortnite. Got to give it to Fortnite, live service game of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing what they've done. It's incredible. Not for me.
Oh, you legitimately give it to Fortnite.
Live service game of the year. Fortnite. I was at a Christmas party and someone was talking to me about watching streamers and saying they play Fortnite. It's like, oh, do you play on mobile? Like, oh yeah, I mainly play on mobile. You're a mad person, but okay.
I can't explain people.
Yeah, it's like this is like I think it's going to be one of these major generational gaps in usability, which is at some point.
You know how some people will only play on a low latency television with a wired controller, a wired connection, and it's only local and everything. And then there's people that play an online game over mobile internet with touchscreen controls.
Yep. There's more of them. There's a lot more of them. There's all these people that are growing up with virtual sticks and all these kind of weird input methods, which are so subpar compared to a more tactile kind of interface. But no, they're fine with it. They grew up with it. Yeah, there's this whole generation of people that are coming up that are just going to be like, no, I'll play Minecraft with touch controls. They're good at it though.
They're not that good at it.
Oh, but I know that it's because you've got like mouse, keyboard, controller, touch. And there's like different skill ceilings for each of those. So, controllers, keyboard, mouse is way up here. Controller skill ceiling is so bad there, which is why I think it's a sweet spot for me. I feel like I can approach this skill ceiling better than this skill ceiling. But the skill ceiling for touch controls is going to be, real low. There's really only so good you're going to get.
I don't seem too worried about it.
But not having a good time. Hey, as long as everyone's on an even skill ceiling, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe that's what makes it more approachable. The fact that skill ceiling is so low.
So when I was making I don't think that's your James's time wasty bullshit of the.
Okay. Well, that's my live service.
I think it's because your time waste includes all games that you just pointlessly pour hours into. Where people look at you like you're a mad person.
So number one. Well, no, it's number two.
Yeah.
Because there's really only two of them this year. Number two, Diablo 3.
Yeah, so which
I played on Switch.
It's
also an arguable game of the year. Playing that on Switch, beautiful. Like already that game was great with the controller. You make that shit portable. I've probably put maybe like a good 150 hours into playing Diablo 3. I'm just playing a necromancer, having a good time.
So the number one, and also most of the enthusiast population's most hated game of the year goes to, or maybe you have another one. Do you have three
that I've put my time into? Well, I mean, I've got to say my number one has to be Destiny 2 because because like that's I think genuinely a good game still that I keep putting time into.
Maybe I'm going to say you didn't really talk about it this year, and then maybe it just tuned you out.
No, because I kind of tone it back because I know you don't give a shit.
You know the audiences.
No, probably I actually put a lot of time into Fallout 76.
That's where I was going with that.
I wouldn't give it to Sea of Thieves because I think basically Sea of Thieves is dead and done now.
No.
But Fallout 76 I played quite a bit of that game.
And how much of it did you play multiplayer?
Probably about 5% of it. Because I would actively log off when other people were around. Because as a walking simulator, I really liked it. It's lots of little things to discover. You walk around and you explore an area and you learn the little story. Bethesda know how to put shit in a map. They're good at that. They're good at putting things in a map. and good at having little stories that you discover as you move through it. And then having like, you got this hub and this hub and this hub, and you learn the little story, you learn the little story, you learn the little story, and then you get a big story. Works really well. You do not need people for that. People actively disrupt that. So if I was questing, I would be like, well, I'm just going to log off and log back on again until that person goes away.
The funniest, I suppose, bug I heard about with it, it's not really a bug, it is by design, but it is funny. You go to like an instance quest area, but the first person to get there is a much higher level than you.
Oh, yeah, it pulls it all up.
And it pulls the whole level up to the other person's level, and then you're fucked.
Yep. I had that happen a few times. Yeah, so like I was just trailing behind someone, and they'd all scaled up. So I was like, oh, I guess I got to go log off and log back on again.
I also enjoy like, so there's so much vitriol towards the game, and it's not a game for me. Although
I actually think you would like it.
Although when I watched it, I didn't hate it as much as I thought it would.
I reckon you would like it.
We'll see.
Look, when that thing's down to $15.
Oh yeah, maybe. I mean, Bethesda's storytelling is very missed for me most of the time. But
I think Bethesda's environmental storytelling is good. The overall narrative tends to be pretty lackluster.
Sure, I do tend to like more of just the exploration.
And that's
stuff.
all the game is. It's 100% just environmental storytelling. Yeah.
But I do get annoyed at their shitty world building. Why is cap still a currency? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's because it's so they can keep selling that cap merch.
It is. It's exactly why.
Yeah. I remember Fallout 2. Fallout 2, they just had money.
Yeah.
Because cap's in the first one, because that was just what was rare.
It made sense for the time.
200 years later.
Why would they still be using
the top money
of old bottles? I don't know. Like, it wouldn't make any sense to keep
give
using
some context, like, when was Australia founded? So 1788?
Oh, yeah, like 70s, yeah.
Yeah. If you want to just look at, like, how far humans can move in a chunk of time.
Excuse me, how humans can move that don't have nuclear power robots.
This is where there's a bunch of solved problems around everywhere.
Yeah. A lot of books that just have, like, solutions written down on them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can guarantee you, Fallout, you know what Fallout, like, the next one should just be? Everything fixed.
Yeah,
it's it's just like the whole post-apocalyptic thing's done. Like, no, we've solved it.
No. You know what I want? I want Fallout 2, as in the Fallout after the new civilization's been rebuilt, and then it gets fucked up again, and you're finding all these remnants of the super advanced civilization rebuilt after the first Fallout.
Well, maybe that's actually what each Fallout is. It's like this kind of like, you just get it like, that makes the 200 years make a lot more sense.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Anyway. But what I was saying is I like your impression because you just generally sat down, you didn't look at too much, you just enjoyed it. And the thing is, almost everyone, and I'm going to be incredibly patronizing here, I'm going to call them normal people.
Normies
that I speak to that play the game. They generally love it. Like, oh, it's great. They're like, so what do you... And I don't have too much of a dog in the fight because I don't really care. Way too much. And I'm like, oh, so what do you think about all the bullshit? And like, what? No, I don't... Doesn't affect me. Whatever. And that's just the truth of it most of the time. It's like, even when I talk about No Man's Sky, I think I might have mentioned on the show a while ago, because they had an interview and they were talking about refund, like the Steam refund policy. And they're like, oh, so how much did it affect you financially? Like, no one refunded No Man's Sky. Like, barely perceptibly different to any other game that's on Steam.
It's that thing that, I think we realized a while ago, is that we are a tiny, tiny piece of a super tiny piece of this whole game, thing.
We can still be an important piece. We can help, we can push stuff up on a pedestal that should be, and we still can have a negative effect on some stuff. You could argue, it's always hard to, like, looking at the mess of Battlefield 5's release this year, because we never know anyone's numbers. And we never know any masses' reasons of doing things. The only reasons we hear are from the enthusiast people that, as we said, don't necessarily matter. Can have an effect, but don't necessarily. It's like, well, I don't know what that. I think this is Battlefield fatigue.
Yeah. The Battlefield 5 stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And even then, I don't know how bad it's actually doing financially. I know sales are down.
What stopped me from getting 5?
What?
I'm just going to wait for Access Premium, whatever it's called.
Oh, I mean, Battlefield games, like, you can get them in the year they came out for $5. Yeah.
Well,
I haven't bought one full price in years.
I'm going to wait for Anthem to come out. I'm going to give $20 to EA and then just play them both.
Yep.
That's because I think I will enjoy Battlefield 5. I liked 1 a lot, but I didn't play it at launch. I'm like, meh, let's wait.
If if Microsoft sorts out its crossplay stuff and actually gets all the stuff that it's got on Xbox One on PC as well, I'll get Game Pass.
Yeah.
Value's great.
Yeah.
But just not if I don't have an Xbox One, which I don't because you generally don't need it. Seeing this morning, there's only one game that's on Xbox One that I want.
What is it?
Rare Replay.
Yeah. Which actually the one I actually don't have that on. I was meant to get it for free from watching some Twitch stream sometime.
Yeah, no, a Mixer stream.
Mixer stream. Yeah, they never sent me that key.
Yeah, I never really worked out how it worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, those were so Destiny is your bullshit game of the year?
Oh yeah, they did
but
good.
It didn't really come out this year. We didn't say bullshit arguable game
Forsaken
of the year.
came out this year.
Fine, whatever. Yeah. Fuck it. I don't care. That's your award. Your award of bullshit.
Well, it's actually no. I won't give it as bullshit because it toned its bullshit way back, which was part of the problem that Activision had. Remember that?
Yeah.
Activision was like, because one of the reasons Forsaken was so good was because they, like, say the whole Eververse cosmetic store.
Yeah.
They actually made it really like achievable to get whatever you want in that store, and so if anything, they really pulled back on their aggression for monetization. Yeah, I think that's changing with Destiny 3. I reckon it's going to be back full force.
I just kind of wish they'd charge more for those level games. Like, okay, I ragged a hell of a lot on Red Dead Redemption 2, and I don't think it's a good game. But I think for people that are into it, if that was, and I'm talking Australian prices here, if that released at a standard retail of $100, which I don't understand you're paying if you go to eBay, but everywhere else it's coming, I think I paid $70.
Yeah, I got it pretty cheap.
Yeah, if it was that, I think the effort and investment in that game is worth that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, majority of people, the way they play games is they will buy a thing and play it for 6 months.
Yeah,
and if you buy Red Dead 2, the value proposition is amazing.
Yes,
like you'll be with that. You'll have a lot to do for a long time if you want that. Yeah,
and I think that's kind of this whole almost when I was looking at Game of the Year stuff. Because everyone kind of expects these big landmark titles to be. And they don't expect it with us because they generally know us and know that that's not the game we're playing. But it's like when I go like, yeah, this is a much better game than Red Dead Redemption 2. They're like, what the fuck is it, $15 whatever? Like, yeah, but I had more fun with it. Yeah. And I think it was a better made game and a better product overall. It's like we almost need like, I don't know if it should be split on tiers of budget or number of developers. It's like, well, if we have a one-man game, is a very good one-man game. Do they have to have their own lineup?
Yeah.
We even had we had some Brisbane Game Awards, which we were asked to participate in for Brisbane Byte, little local magazine, which is really well put together. And there was, I don't know what actually happened, but they had votes for Mobile Game of the Year. What's this, Skyward? The one that Dan Voigt made.
The great game with the name that I can never remember.
It's this little one where you control birds.
You draw your finger and they follow.
It's a very simple little thing, but one of the things about it is that it's not like a mobile game. It's no buy-in. There's no monetization. There's no ads. It's a small experience that you can finish quite quickly. Sorry, I forgot the name of it. It is Skyward something.
Yeah.
Or something skies. Shit. Sorry,
Dan.
Sorry, Dan. I don't have it on my list. Yeah. It's on my phone. Quick, where's my phone? Actually, it should still be installed. Starts with S. It's got to start with S. Too many things. Is it still there?
Oh.
I don't have many games on my phone most of the time. Blah. Sorry. Anyway, I'll look it up later. But all the other games there were, mobile games that have to exist in the mobile space. Because Dan didn't release it as a commercial product.
No,
he released it as an artistic expression of something he was making. And I kind of, because I voted for it, partly with my reasoning, like, I don't really like the mobile space, but I see this avoids the trappings.
Is this fair placing it next to...
Yeah, is it fair comparing to the people that have to commit commercially, which a game which is released only for artistic purpose? Yeah. And so I got a message back saying, like, if that game wasn't part of the voting, who would you vote for? And I gave it to which are Super Stardust, I think. Which was a very nicely put together game, but it also had a lot of, as soon as I was seeing the mobile trappings with it, I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. But that's me. But I kind of think that I don't know what happened, but I assume there's just a bit of a kickback that maybe this is unfair comparing these things. And so it's like when we rag on a AAA game that has microtransactions, is that not fair? Like versus a game that's half the price but only has a team of 3 people. So, like, well, they're not quite going for the same sort of thing, and companies are unwilling to raise the price of games. So this other market that they've created has to be engaged with if they're going to be commercially viable. And then is it fair to compare it? And I still don't engage with it. I don't like that practice, but I still have to admit that it has a reason in the industry. That's very cool. I've got very... Because
games used to be a lot more expensive.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like back in the... Like I think in Australia, or the US, I think, wasn't Nintendo games used to be $80 or something like that?
In Australia, they would relatively retail for over $100.
Over $100,
so
yeah.
And that's depending on the cart size.
That's back in the kind of 90s.
Yes, which it was even worth more. So he's probably paying equivalent of $150.
Yeah, for a game.
Yeah.
So games actually they've gone down.
Yeah, games are actually cheaper, but market size much bigger.
Yeah.
So it's always one hand's balancing the other one, and it's there's more people than ever, but then there's also more games than ever, and no one's getting promoted unless you spend a lot more money. And I'm not an economist. I can't tell you what's right or what's wrong. I mean, sometimes I can tell you what's wrong. But
yeah.
Anyway, so let's look at some other things. So I thought this game isn't going to win my Paul's Pretentious Bullshit of the Year award, but Swery released a new game.
Oh yeah, what was that one called again?
Called The Missing. J.J. McField and the Island of Memories, which was the whole reason this second column on my thing had to be so wide. Because it is Swery, which is mostly known for coffee game.
Deadly Premonition.
Deadly Premonition thing. I'm thinking Darkest Dungeon. I'm like, no.
D4 was it?
D4 as well. Yeah. But so it's a puzzle platformer. It's maybe you could say a Limbo-esque, but controls pretty shit.
Yeah,
looks pretty average to poor.
Yeah.
I mean, it is low budget. It tends to make low budget things, but very very unique. So you're playing this character, and she's stuck on this island, as you may have guessed, and you're trying to find your friend who's disappeared. I won't go too much in the narrative. Well, the narrative is quite interesting. And the gameplay sort of kicks in, and at one point you get killed, and your limbs sort of fall off, but you don't die, and you just can sort of pick yourself back up and regenerate.
Your limbs back on? Or they
sometimes, other times you just sort of a regenerate button that sort of suck you in. So a puzzle you might have to hit something, so you might just get your arm chopped off and throw your arm at something. You might need to light something on fire, so you set yourself on fire and go run into it. Here's the stylistic and thematic choice that they did that makes this amazing. Your character feels it. Agony. Absolute bone-crushing agony when you do these things to your characters. She is very unhappy. She is in a lot of pain when you do it. It's just I'm playing it going, what the fuck is going on?
So where does the agency sit? Are you meant to be playing the girl ripping off her own arm, or are you the player?
You're definitely playing the girl.
Yeah.
And there's a thematic reason for all this as well, which is kind of a spoiler theory in the game, so I won't touch into that too much. It deals very much with identity issues in the game, and it's kind of good coming from a Japanese developer as well, because often sexuality and identity sort of get glossed over a lot of Japanese games that we get. It was kind of nice to see it addressed, and it's dressed it in a pretty mature way. The first time I set her on fire, and she's just screaming as I run, and when you're your limbs are broken and you're moving, you will just randomly trip over and fall and shit because you're running on a broken leg. It is not a good time happiness.
Sounds horrific.
It's really it's a short experience, and the worst thing is
how long is it?
I don't know, maybe 3-4 hours.
Okay, it's short.
It controls pretty janky, and you get these issues where it's you've got a big puzzle section, but if you're just ahead and the head gets killed, then you do die, but you have to reset the whole section again. And there's a lot of running back and forth with kind of clunky machine controls. So I can't really recommend it on a gameplay level. It's got some fun ideas in it, some gameplay puzzle things, there's some things to play with gravity and But mostly you're collecting collectibles in it, and when you get enough collectibles, there's some as the story goes, you keep getting messages on your phone, but the more collectibles you get messages from different people, and that it's pretty well written.
Yeah,
they're entertaining to read, and they really flesh out the world and the plot that's actually going on.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. It's just one of those things like it's it's very unique. Again, like most of his games, it doesn't necessarily play that well, but
it's doing something interesting.
What's
it called again?
Okay, The Missing, J.J. McField and the Island of Memories. Get nice and close to the mic for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get all
real
intimate,
sexy.
Paul.
Scream as you burn. Okay, so other games I guess that you can hit in that. A game that we played at PAX. We also haven't spoken about PAX because we haven't had since then. So PAX 2018 Australia happened. It was a very good show again. We had our little talk on Duke Nukem Forever, which went quite well. On the floor, I would say that perhaps our most enjoyed area was Devolver Digital.
Yes, Devolver had some good stuff.
One of the games they had, which I'll talk about briefly right now, was called... I kept calling it Gris, so it's Gris, but apparently it's pronounced Grease. It's Spanish for grey.
Okay.
Which makes sense in the world. It's one of those games where the color gets sucked out of the world and then the color back slowly. It's like, we've seen it. It's fun.
And you were so down on that game at the start.
That game, I'd seen like a playthrough of it. I was like, this game is boring as fuck.
Yeah,
Let me show you how boring as fuck this game is.
And for the first 5 minutes, you were right.
Oh yeah, it is. It's beautifully animated. It's like hand drawn cell animation, really fine lines, sort of watercolors coming in behind. It's sort of like they've got watercolor backgrounds that the artist then overlaid on, so lots of transparency through it, and very architectural style drawings in the background look like album covers all the time.
There were some issues with not knowing which was foreground and background,
because it's very art centric. So you do get the issue sometimes where you're like, okay, what is an interactive element and what is just art? So, but that did become more apparent the more I played it. But still, obviously, the art was the main focus. But yeah, like literally, you're just running and jumping, and as complex as it got was platforms appearing and disappearing. It's like, yep. And then a giant bird appeared, and it was animated like the best thing I've seen in my fucking life. And then they kept adding mechanics on top, and I'm swimming underwater with reflected buildings and stuff.
You're having to match it up with the top to know where to go. And
it kept adding things, and then I finished the demo, and then they played a trailer for the full game, which showed all of these interactions and weird things, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is the beginning of this game so boring? And the rest is great. I want this game. And then the game, we got a pre-release code, and I played through it, and I was like 2 weeks before the game was going to be released. I'm like, I'm not allowed to talk to anybody about this. This is great. I love it. This game's great. But now the game's out, so I can talk about it. So I played it on Switch. I thought I'd just see how the performance was. Performance was very good on the whole. I thought one of the interesting things is the camera will pull a long way back sometimes.
How'd that work on the screen?
Weirdly, better on handheld than on my TV.
Really?
My TV's not huge, so actually it kind of it was better on screen. So if you got a big size TV and it's fine on the handheld as well. I think the thing that makes it better than most little like arty games is that it just feels nice to play. The jumping, the moving feels good. You've got a few abilities, like one of your main abilities in the game is you just basically Kirby. You turn into a brick. You literally you squat down and you turn a square and you're heavy, so you use that to fall onto things or to weigh things down or whatever. But it's just like every time you do it, it feels good. And all like you end up swimming and flying and doing all sorts of gravity switching things, blah blah blah, and everything feels nice to do. And that's good because at the whole, it still never gets that complicated. It's primarily a walking simulator through beautiful art, and it's very, very nice art. But at one point, I was near the end of the game, I'm like, this game really is just moving from point to point. And I realized as I was doing that, I was swimming on an ocean on the ceiling that I had to leap out of, go through a gravity thing that would turn gravity around, flip around, do 12 mechanical things in a row. But wait.
So it actually just taught you really well.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not like a super brilliant platformer, but I'm very comfortable with platformers.
You play a lot of platformers.
I play a lot of platformers. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, like whilst I don't think this is a hard game, I think it's actually just so mechanically sound that I can just execute properly the first time, and I don't get frustrated having to do the jumps over and over again or something. It's actually doing quite a lot of stuff, but it's presented in such a way that it's very natural, and so it's just very well designed, and their goal isn't to be difficult to execute and give you challenges. Their goal is to move you through and make you do a bunch of stuff and experience things. So I thought it was very, very nice. Very as aesthetically, one of the best games of the year, and just very enjoyable to play. Not taxing though. But yeah, it ended up being a real little surprise.
Yeah, because the other one we checked out was it My Friend Pedro?
Oh, yes, My Friend Pedro.
Which that one isn't out yet. That was just us kind of trying on the floor.
I think that's on my like games we played this year that don't exist yet.
Yeah, and kind of like another kind of side scroller. More of a gun fu, I guess, style game.
I describe its art as a bit ugly, but that's fine.
I don't feel like the art's really.
It's not art driven.
I think it's going for.
No. It's art driven is more in its animation and its scenarios.
Yeah, and my first impression with playing that was this is really floaty and a bit shit because like the movement,
especially when you're watching it, so floaty.
But the moment you play it, you understand.
Yeah,
and. I think this thing is coming out console and PC.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be getting this thing on PC because I think mouse and keyboard is going to be the best way to play this.
Because one of the main mechanics is you can use your guns akimbo.
Yeah.
So you can mark where one gun's going to shoot and then move the reticle to another location. And that works really, really well.
It works fantastically,
mouse. I tried it with a controller. It was still fine, but the mouse was so much better.
Yeah. So it's almost like you lock on what you want to shoot.
Yeah.
And then while that's locked on, you can then move the reticle. I think you just hold down the right mouse button to lock on or something.
Yeah, there was a button. I think
it was something. Yeah. It was pretty intuitive how it all works.
Very easy to play. Yeah,
and that's like the basic thing of like, well, you can just kind of aim and shoot at two things at once, and it gives you a good amount of information of the room you're going into. It doesn't bother trying to obfuscate what's in the room, so you can plan for. All right, I'm going to shoot this. Do things like shoot a pan in the air and then shoot the pan, and the bullets will bounce off.
And it's like it's not doing real physics. It's doing like if a pan's in the air and there's an enemy and you shoot the pan, the bullet will shoot the enemy because it's about being cool.
Yeah.
Not about being realistic.
Yeah, it's like and then with this weird floating banana friend.
Yeah,
as you're kind of playing through it.
Yeah, I think that'll be very cool next year.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
And the other game that we played there that we both really, really liked was Metal Wolf Chaos, which is that old From game that didn't get released.
An early From game.
Yeah.
Where you play the president of America in a big mech.
With hundreds of guns?
Hundreds of guns. You can it's a little bit like Metal Gear Solid, the way you kind of cycle like the weapons that you have.
Well, you can have like a weapon on each arm.
Yeah, because you got like two arms.
Like we had one that was party poppers that shot money or something.
Yeah, something like that. But the humor was great.
Oh, it was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time.
It's one of those things of American culture through the lens of Japan.
Like the president mows down a bunch of soldiers and the commentary is like, they won't be voting for you next.
But yeah, it
seems so appropriate for this generation as well.
It looks like a game made in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like they're not really doing much of a visual update on what's there.
But it's smooth and it's readable.
Oh, it looks fine. Like, you can read it, understand what's going on. All the original voice acting is there. It's fun times. I had a pleasant time with it. It made me laugh.
All right, we shouldn't spend too much on games that
they're coming out.
But PAX was good. There was some good stuff. Okay, so games James and I finally finished A Way Out.
Oh, we did.
We had our second playthrough.
Yeah,
and let's put a little. We also could have a fifth attempt. Most disappointing game of the year. I've got a couple there. I'm just putting sad faces next
to the disappointing ones.
So A Way Out, which is the Director of Brothers second follow-up game. We're playing. I think we nicknamed one of them Undercover Cop and the other one Bad Elvis. Yeah. And you'll never guess what the twist is. But you're doing the jailbreak and it's all a co-op focus game. It's always split screen. And man, that game is like made by people with no sense of tone or theme or storytelling at all. It has the dumbest ending of all time.
Yep.
It turns into Army of Two at one point. We're like, why the fuck is this suddenly a shooter?
The shooting's it's not good.
It's not terrible. Like,
it's possible.
It's possible.
But it's like, why would you turn... And you think of like all the cool stuff that happened in the first third of that game in the prison.
Yeah.
That was all great.
It's all pretty good.
Yeah. Like I really some good co-op mechanics, like the chemistry between the two.
And when we rode in the boat, we both really liked the boat.
The boat was really good. But then as soon as it started getting to like... Now we're going to have emotions and talk about the feelings.
So the next 1 minute we'll have spoilers. I mean, we already kind of spoiled it. Sorry. It's just so fucking bad. You don't understand how bad it is. So we stopped the game about halfway through when they're at the trailer park.
Yeah.
And then months later we came back and we played through and we've gone down to It wasn't Mexico. It was somewhere else, wasn't it?
Oh, somewhere in
Southern America.
Central America, somewhere down there.
We've gone down there. We're shooting all these people, and we get to the bad guy that's like framed us or whatever. We couldn't even remember. And then we get like the crystal, which is apparently what we've been after.
Yeah, it's all after the whole time.
We've forgotten the plot, and we're just like, just wait. We did all this for a fucking diamond.
How many people we killed out back?
Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I thought this was an emotional thing, but we wanted to get this gemstone.
Yeah, we got the gem.
Where did this come from? That game is the dumbest thing I've ever played, and it wasn't. It was like I had fun playing with. It's hard not to have fun when playing with a friend, but we were constantly. The best thing is just pointlessly throughout the game. There's just little games you can play everywhere.
Oh, that's the bit where it's like you want to play horseshoe, or like you want to play. We're in a waiting room in a hospital. You want to play Connect 4.
Yeah, you're doing very important things. You're just like, you know what? I'm going to play a bit of baseball.
We got those. We got that elderly couple tied up inside. We got time to play some horseshoe.
It's always time for horseshoes. Yeah, A Way Out. It's a bad game, but
I had fun with it.
Yeah,
I feel like if they just focused on the prison escape stuff, and that was the whole game,
kind of like Prison Break.
A bit like if it was Prison Break. I think because that stuff was fun. It was just when they tried to bring in the story.
Oh my gosh.
And tried to pretend things would be a surprise when they were bleedingly obvious. I didn't mind the idea behind how it concluded.
Oh, they did not earn it even slightly.
They didn't earn it.
And also, one of the characters had literally no motivation for doing what happens at the end. I was like, why would he do that?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, there is a little bit more to it than the obvious thing
we still walked a little bit around it. So
there is more.
If you've been spoiled and haven't you have to see it for the full.
Yeah, there's more. There's more going on.
It's oh my lord, that game. Woo! Like if it was more serious or more silly, it could have been one of the two. But it does not know what it's trying to do. It's very bad. Okay. So I want to take a diversion now to what the end of this year has come for me, and what I think is actually being a little bit of a shift. Because next year I think is going to be a little bit of a wasteland for especially Microsoft and Sony. Sony's not going to E3.
But they'd be kind of gearing up for next gen at this point.
Yes, that's sort of the feeling.
Yeah.
But Sony has a little ace up its sleeve, and that is the sudden drop in price of its VR solution, PlayStation VR. Because I anecdotally know quite a lot of people that have just said, $250 with games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked one up. I got one for $350, and that include Doom VR, Skyrim, whatever their kind of regular baked in playroom thing is.
PlayStation Worlds.
PlayStation Worlds.
Came with Astro as well, didn't it?
Astro, well, the big one was kind of Astrobot, and there was one more thing, which has slipped my mind. So five things for $350.
So I know you won't be too upset, but if you bought the $250 bundle that has PlayStation Worlds and Astrobot, all those other games can be bought for less than $100 currently.
Oh, really? I'm not terribly upset.
Yeah. It's all good.
It's fine. I feel like my $350 for that bundle was... It's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I've been on the fence with it for a while now.
Yeah, because I thought it would drop in Australia around Christmas, so I borrowed one from our friend Michael just to check, because I hadn't actually used PlayStation VR. We tried to use it, but it was a dev unit, so it couldn't work and stuff like that. I just wanted to check that I didn't get motion sickness, because early Oculus and everything made me very, very sick. It was only until we got the proper head tracking that's when I started to be better. So I just wanted to see, because I knew it was not high-end, but not terrible either. It's fine. I've only had one game that made me feel ill, and that was Farpoint.
That actually did make me feel a bit ill as well.
It's a full walking around first-person game. It's not... it doesn't do any of the solutions to make you not sick. But I've bought... I didn't have to buy all of them, because I already had a bunch of games that had VR modes. And then I bought a bunch of VR games as well. I've been playing VR every day, and I love it.
Wipeout was the other one.
Oh, Wipeout,
Yeah.
Wipeout is good but rough. Have you tried it?
I was actually been okay with it. I think because it blocks off your periphery.
It puts a whole lot of fixes on before to make this game will make you sick, so we're gonna stabilize the camera, we're gonna block the peripherals, we're gonna do a bunch of things.
It's like you're looking through kind of like you still can see plenty. It's not an issue.
No.
It's like it's like there's a blocking up to here.
Yeah, they've worked out the thing, because I didn't get sick in it, but I certainly got going around some of the loops and stuff. I certainly went like, whoa.
Yeah. As it goes zoom down.
And it's quite intense, so I don't want to play it for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to play like a couple of races and then I'm done for now. So that's pretty good too. I've been having a wonderful time. So games. So not all these games came out this year, but they're sort of all new to me.
Yeah.
And actually, this is the hard thing. We want to talk about it. I'm sure you want to talk about it. People hate listening about VR if they don't have VR. Because VR, like, not only is it boring to hear about if you don't have it, it's also not hard to understand, but hard to appreciate because you can't watch a video of VR and say, that looks fun. Because it doesn't. It looks terrible on video. It's only an experiential thing. And that's what, like I play a lot of Tetris in VR.
Did you get Tetris Effect?
Fuck yeah.
Is it worth it? Because it's like a full price game. I'm like, oh,
it's like $50.
It's like, oh, it looks so good. I really like the demo.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe not.
If it was like $30, I'd be all over it.
Okay. As far as like, oh no, it's so hard to compare things.
So okay, I'll tell my little VR story first because I think
yeah.
it's a bit more approachable and understand what it is. So we had a Christmas party the other day, and it was a bunch of Cheryl and her friends who are mainly doctors, and we decided we'd check out this VR thing. And the only thing I had installed, which was like group play, was keep talking and no one explodes or dies or explodes.
No one explodes.
No one explodes. Which has been out for a while on PC and Oculus and all that stuff. And I think I picked it up for like $15 or something. And as a game where they treat it as a third screen, because like a second screen. So this group has really loved Nintendo World on the Wii U. Nintendo Land. But as soon as there's like a person with secondary information, and then the sort of people playing kind of against them, the group just loves it. They love that kind of mechanic. And this is where I think VR can really shine in the social space because the biggest problem I have with VR is really how isolating it is.
Oh yeah.
And so having
even if it's like something that's taking turns, it's like it's still one person doing it and everyone just watching and like seeing. Oh, are you flailing? No one really flails that much in VR.
I did almost hit Cheryl's mum in the head when I was playing Accounting Plus because I was like all over the place.
I've walked into that window frame once, and my wife likes to come in and like just subtly like touch.
Just to kind of guide you back.
No, not to go to creep me out.
Just creep you out. But yeah, for people who don't know what that game is, basically one person has a headset on and they're just looking at a bomb.
Yes.
And the controls are super easy. Just uses the controller. I put it on 4 different people who had never used VR before. Instantly got it. Like they play games, but it wasn't like as an experience to be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like when I gave Cheryl's mum Accounting Plus. She was like, what are these things? One of the characters like, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing here? It's like, what's going on? It was hilarious. But yeah, like as an intro game, it was fantastic. But the really interesting thing was that I was basically taking a bit of a step back and I was just on manual duty.
Yeah.
So the way it works is like if someone's controlling it, they can see the bomb. No one else can see the bomb, but they have access to an on-screen manual.
And that manual is also available to print out.
You can just print it out. And actually pen and paper can make a lot of this easier. But it was really fascinating watching a bunch of doctors interact with how it kind of all works, because they tend to deal with like high stress environments where there's someone at the top telling what to do and like you have to kind of very concisely give information and that kind of stuff. And it all worked out really well, except for the one person who was a psychologist. And that person is used to giving information in very long-winded ways. And
how does the bomb feel?
Well, it's things like everyone else identified, like because there's about maybe 12 or so different kind of effective puzzles with complex solutions, which need the manuals to solve. And most people figured out very quickly that you only need a subset of the information the game gives you to figure out the solution. And so they'd narrow it down to just that. It's like, information piece A, B, and they go, okay, you need to know C and D. Whereas the guy who does psych would be like, here is all the information, and you have to like mentally go, okay,
we need this bit, and this bit, and
this bit. Don't need all that. But it was a fantastic hit with the group. I think we set the timer to about 5 minutes. Was like just the sweet spot where we kept just missing it. Just missing it, but we learn enough, so we play it again, and you get a random bomb every time, and like we now understand, like, oh, okay, we know how to solve this and this and this, but oh shit, there's a new one, and so you get through the other ones quickly, but then it's like, oh, but now we got to figure out this one. It just worked really well. I don't know what the legs will be once you have a good understanding of like how to solve everything. Like, it's part of the fun is like the chaos of trying to figure it out on the fly. But yeah, I think I really like that as an example of VR game because it's not just, you put on the headset and, you're in a virtual space. It's like, okay, no, like we're using it as a second screen. That person is, but there's interactions with other people. It's a social game. You can't play it by yourself.
And actually, one thing that would help with that game, you don't have to do it by default, but you can do it at a system level in the PlayStation VR, and I mentioned it as a thing that helped a lot of people, including me. You can turn on basically a aware microphone so that you can still hear everything around you in the real world.
Pass-through kind of thing.
Yeah, it just uses the microphone to pass all the audio back. Because my wife talks to me quite a lot when I'm in my office, and at first she'd be yelling and it's like, take everything off, like, you talking to me? But now I can just hear her and talk back.
In this particular case, we weren't even using the headphones. We were just using the TV sound. And that was interesting because we started to identify cues as well. Like, if anything, we probably shouldn't have done that because we could like suddenly start to get a little bit more information about what's going on. But that is a cool feature that they got that pass through because I think I mentioned it before, but one of the biggest stoppers for me with VR has just been how isolating it is. And even in the living area, like my original thought was that, because it's weird. You have to have the TV on, but it doesn't have to be on the same channel.
You don't need the TV on.
For me, it didn't need to turn the TV on first. Anyway.
Maybe I have played many sessions I've never turned my television.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe there was just something funny going on.
Yeah.
But like I thought, this would be cool. Like I can put on the headset and someone else can use the TV. But it's basically like being in another room anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just this weird thing where you're there, but you're not. And I found it was more socially awkward than I was expecting. Like I thought it'd be this thing of like, oh, cool, I can kind of be in the living area and play a game while other people around. It's a bit more social. Like, no, it's not. Nope. It's actually very antisocial.
Who would have thought putting a giant mask over your face would be antisocial? Yes. So let's. I suppose just the sort of the big games this year that came on VR that we played. So Astrobot
was a big one. Yeah.
So Astrobot is basically a Mario 3D platformer in virtual reality, and it is extraordinary. It is. It's one of those things that you break it down mechanically. And the other big game I want to talk about is Moss, and they're both kind of similar. Astrobot is probably a little bit more complex with the way that the world works. Moss is you're playing a little mouse. It's very straightforward action adventure. You've got a little sword, you jump, you can manipulate the world to solve puzzles. Astrobot, more world variety, kind of like a Mario thing, where it's like, okay, this world's got a theme.
It feels like it's made by Nintendo or Ubisoft.
Yes.
That's sort of the kind of feel I get.
If you look at both these games straight up mechanically, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Put them in VR, you start taking advantage of perspective and being able to move around and everything.
Yeah.
I think the moment in Astrobot, it's the second level, where there's
I bet we have the same point, but keep going.
Where the girders, this is just the second level, not second world.
Yeah.
So, second level at the very beginning, you can jump up and there's some girders going above you. I'm like, I'm not quite sure about the jump. Wait a second. I stood up and I could see above them.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
This is like, no one would care about me doing this, but it feels amazing.
Yeah. The bit that was very similar was that the bot was behind a wall.
Yep.
And I had to
lean around
it. And I was like, this now feels like special. Like it's I think Astrobot Rescue
Mission.
Something with the names.
Some subtitle that does not need to be there.
That's the first game I've played in VR where I feel like they're making fantastic use of the tech to make the game better.
Yes.
Even just things like how the little bot looks at you as he's running around, he's waving.
So have you played Moss?
No, I haven't.
So I'm mixing these things together because they're both
kind of similar, doing similar things.
So Moss, it's a mouse. Yeah. You are your size. You're this watcher. And whilst you control the movement, it still has some independence. So at one point, like I solved a puzzle and the mouse didn't respond. I looked down and she had a little paw up and I leaned right down and I gave a high five. But you do that in the game. You do that like it's down and you go, you just crane your head down and look from her perspective. And so Astrobot, when you're moving through the level, it'll pull you forward, which can give a little bit of motion sickness, but nothing crazy with me. And I am very sensitive. I use myself as a pretty good barometer for that if you get sensitive. Moss only has you in static positions. He's like, okay, you walk to the next room, we'll just teleport you to the next room. So there's basically these little miniature diorama style sets, and you can just most of them are really beautiful, and they're just tiny scaled, this mouse world where like one of the big bads is this giant snake and everything. It's like the scale is fantastic and it feels small, but it's still impactful. And you can, I was listening to someone talk about like their child was just constantly crawling up to the mouse and everything with the headset on. Like it's magic.
Yeah.
It really feels like, I haven't felt this way playing games since I was a kid.
When I was playing Astrobot, I was giggling.
Oh yeah,
I was.
Yeah, the way they look at you, like
yeah, and like the way they like when you save the bot, they go to the controller. I do a little like I try to
like catch them and yeah.
I was playing
and that's the sort of thing where we're mechanically not doing anything that the game supports, but it feels right. Like I quite often will like touch things and move things that don't actually can be touched or but just because it feels right and it feels good to do.
Yeah. It's only thing to say the thing we say of like gives my eyes tiny smiles. Like that's what those games do to me. Like it's just like a sense of wonder that I haven't had in a long time from playing a game. And I think it's because a lot of the games I've played up until now, they feel like I know they're good, but like I don't feel like they've made the most out of the hardware that's there. Yeah. And now I feel like they're getting there. Like they feel like something I will sit down and play this. I can play this for quite a while. And I would prefer to play it in VR. And I think that's sort of, I guess, one of the tells of like, is this something like say something like Elite Dangerous? Elite Dangerous, I prefer to not play in VR. I've tried it in VR. It's cool and all, but
it doesn't really add anything. It's like isolating.
It's isolating, and like a lot of the time there's downtime. I kind of want to do other things. Like I don't want to play that game in VR. But Astrobot, yeah, it's better in VR.
Not this year. I think it was last year. Or maybe it was even older than that. The game that made me get it. So, we've all played Rez. We've been playing Rez since Dreamcast.
Yep.
We've all joked about all the masturbation options with all the like the 360 version where you can get like every controller vibrating.
Different vibrations.
Oh, amazing. The thing is, honestly, Rez has never appeared on like lists that I make or anything because I actually don't get it. It's fine. Get it. VR.
Yeah.
I get Rez now. Feels amazing. It's like they said like beginner mode, pro mode for VR. I'm like, I just want to see what they think the pro means, and like at least the way it's set up is like it's just what you look at is targeted.
Oh, okay.
Which means you can target super fast and super naturally, and you're releasing. Not just to kill, but you are only doing it for music's sake. You're like, okay, well, do it now because it's on the beat and then get everything in there. And you just work with the game and it feels so good. I'm like, oh, Rez, I understand you. And that's when I went, you know what? I do need to buy Tetris.
Yeah.
So good. I just, that was one of the really extraordinary ones for me. I was like, okay, I get this now. There's a whole bunch of like, I just chill out in there. I play Tetris to chill out. I don't really try to amp it up too high. I'm just like, no. I'm just going to have some whales swimming around me while I play Tetris.
Well, I think it's another thing I've been loving about the PSVR so far is also just how easy it is to get into it. This was the big problem I had because I borrowed someone's Oculus. Yeah. And to do that, it's like, I got to get sensor. Everything game expects you to have a space to walk around. Like it was just a chore to get the thing going, and I'm sort of at a desk. Like I felt like I need to rearrange everything to really get a good experience out of this. Where it seems like more of the PSVR experiences are about you on a couch with a headset.
Yes.
Which is, and they've used
sit-down experiences are the majority of them.
You have a headset. The headset has a really long cable on it. One cable. You put it on. You hit the button. You pick up your Move controllers, and you're good. You're golden. You're playing.
I bought a hook. Which, you can't quite see, but it's there for James there. Yeah. The headset just sits on the hook.
That's a good idea.
It takes me the time it takes to boot the PlayStation to be in VR.
Yeah. They have totally delivered on a consumer-friendly version of VR, the only consumer-friendly version of VR I've played. Yeah. And I haven't used the Vive Pro, but I've used the Vive, and I've used kind of the most recent Oculus. And comparing it to the PlayStation VR, including the actual Move controllers, I honestly don't notice that much of a difference. Like, yes, there is an improvement on this, and yes, you don't get the computational power.
Yes,
of
your
PC.
Of a high-end PC, you're not getting that.
You're not getting that stuff. But in terms of like experience and like even like availability of games and tailored to the kind of experiences I want, it just delivers it so well. Yeah, it's
at the risk of turning this into the VR podcast. I really, really like it. Yeah, if it was a game, I would say my number one game of the year is PlayStation VR. Probably half the games in my top 10 are currently VR games, even ones that didn't come out this year. Because I'm just. And I do play it to relax. Where VR was always something that I thought like I would, okay, I'm amped up. I'm going to have a serious VR session. It's like, no, I'm going to just sit back and chill out for a bit and play with a mouse or fly through space or something. It works. It's good. If you're on the fence, the price is low. I think there's no time better. And I think it's, at the moment, the Christmas sale, which is still going till, I think, 20th of January, is it?
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of VR, because that's the only thing, a lot of the VR stuff is a bit more pricey.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's at a very
huge sale at the moment.
Because I picked up quite a lot of games for most of them under $10.
Yeah. So there's a lot of free stuff as well.
Yeah. I was playing Headmaster.
Oh, what's that one?
Oh, that's the one. The whole game's about heading soccer balls. It's not quite, but kind of a Stanley Parable sort of dry British wit to the whole thing. It says like literally you don't need the controllers; it's just the head now. Boom, boom.
Giving yourself some kind of neck injuries.
Oh, they're very much like, okay, this is how you hold your body to not hurt your neck. So just move like this. Okay, I got it. It's phenomenally dumb, and but it just works. It feels very natural, and it's like doesn't ever say it's welcome. It's like it's a bunch of heading a soccer ball puzzles with a few jokes. What do you expect? It's cool. Let's not overcomplicate this relationship. Anyway, so we should move on to games of man. I think part of my problem is Paul's Indie Bullshit of the Year award. I should just give it to something.
Yeah, let's give it one.
See, I love Celeste. You know what? Let's give it to The Messenger. Because I haven't talked about it yet on the show because it came out after we stopped recording for a bit. The Messenger was on the Switch and it was a game I was not looking forward to because it was Ninja Gaiden-esque. I never really liked Ninja Gaiden. It's fine, but it just never captured me. And when they initially announced it, they said like, "Oh, you could play the game in 8 or 16-bit." I'm like, "What's the fucking point? Why would you do that?" Well, it turns out that you can't just choose between playing in there's a mechanical reason for those two changes, a very funny reason because the game is very well written.
Okay,
there's basically there's this.
Is this a platformer that would shit me?
On the cusp, just because it has some difficulty.
Yeah, but
most of the difficulty is optional.
Okay.
So just getting through the game, I think, is pretty doable. Most bosses would take me maybe 2-3 goes.
Okay.
So I was never hitting my head against the wall, but they still had some mechanical challenge to them. But the thing that's amazing about the game, and semi-spoiler, so you might have some idea about how, okay, at a certain point, you get the ability to change between these two generations. So what the game has is a couple of points, which basically you could say were the end of one game and the start of another. And this game has 3 games, and each game is more mechanically complex than the one preceding it.
Okay.
And each one could have been sold for like $10-15, but instead there's 3 amazing games in one package that's like $15-20.
Okay.
And so many tiny smiles when I'm playing it. So it's the writing is really amusing. It's really on point. It keeps evolving the game. So by the time that you're getting sick of what this game is, because at the beginning it is this very NES-esque platformer. It's and it's one mechanic, which I suppose is less important. But I mean, this is explaining the game. I can't remember what they call it. They call it like an air dash or something, air jump, or basically if you attack an enemy or an enemy's projectile in midair, you get another jump.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a very good player, you can basically not touch the ground for long periods of this game. It's a fantastic mechanic. It's used lots and lots of ways. Eventually, you're in sky levels and you're just sort of like, shit, I need another enemy. Quicker, jump away I go. It's very, very satisfying. So very solid mechanics, unique with that. But then structurally, it's just, by the time you're sick of it, it becomes something else. Okay.
So the pacing's good.
The pacing's really good. It has lots of things to discover. About the worst thing is near the end of the game, it can become a little bit difficult to know what your next goal will be, except they knew that. And if you don't want to work it out, you could just walk up to one of the vendors and say, tell me where to fucking go. And they go, are you sure? Yes, here's $20. Okay. But first they'll give you a hint. Yeah. They'll give you a free hint. You're like, oh, maybe if you're there.
Okay.
It's like, nah.
Okay, maybe I would like it because I'm giving that guy $20.
Oh yeah. I think it's a wonderful game that really took me by surprise. And the game, no, it's kind of funny. One of the two. they announced a new expansion pack, which I believe is free, which looks like another game on top of it. Or a side game. It's just like, I think it's called Picnic Panic or something. It's based, you go to like a tropical island or something. It looks great fun. Yeah. It's, I started the game one day and I think I stopped maybe one level or so before the twist happened. Yeah. I was like, I get it. This is Ness-ish, as in like you move too far away from an enemy off screen, it just comes back instantly and stuff like this isn't for me. I put it down. And then I picked it up again. Holy shit, this is one of the most fun games of the year. So good. Okay.
That's Messenger.
The Messenger. Yes. I played it on Switch. It's also on PC. I'm not sure about the other consoles. I mean, there's 3 consoles now. There's PC, Switch,
and VR.
And PSVR.
I actually haven't turned on my PS4 in a long time. Until I got the VR, I'm like, oh, now I'm actually using this PS4.
I had the feeling of the day where I was going to play this like a regular PS4 game.
Why would you though? You played on PC?
No. Sometimes they're not on there.
I guess it's like
sometimes I own things on there that I own. But also it's like, I might just play this with the VR headset. It's all big. It's like, it's a little blurry though. It's like, yeah, but it's big.
But it's big. And I don't really care that much. It's like, actually, it'd be nice if you could down render it. Let's just render the resolution of the headset. Because why not?
Oh, and just get the frame rate. Performance boost.
Get the frame rate.
Time to replay Last Guardian. Yes.
Because the refresh rate on those the VR is going to be real high. It has to be.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
So I guess okay. So let's look at best game arguably of the year. So games I played this year. And this just be games that you also played this year. So I got one to tell you about that I was playing about I don't know, a few weeks ago that I thought you'd like. I got it on a Steam sale because I had it bookmarked, but I wasn't ready to take the jump. You heard of Recursed?
No.
You're gonna like Recursed. Okay, Recursed is a puzzle platformer. Very, very, very light on the platformer. Very much a puzzle game. So in Recursed, basically you have rooms within boxes.
Oh, I think you did mention this, but keep going. Yeah.
Okay. So you're in a room, there is a box in that room, and you jump into that room, and that world is created. Now, say there's a crate in that room, so you grab that crate, jump back out. Now, as you jump out of a box, that world's destroyed, but you take the thing out of it. If you jump back in that world, the world's created again, so there's another crate in there.
Okay.
So you can pull out infinite crates. Yeah. You could also say, pick up that box, throw it in water, and then when you go into that box, that world's flooded. Now, here's the thing. Say in that crate, there's another crate. Oh, in that box, there's another box. So you jump in, go through, create that world, jump in, create another world under there, and so on if there's more. But you can also pick up those crates, those boxes. Yeah. So you could take it out of that world, up one step, and then like pick up the original box that it was made in, jump into the box that it came out of, and like.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing.
This shit gets like it's recursed as in recursion. You can have boxes that lead back to the box you started from and everything.
Ow.
It is
okay.
Genius. I just
I can just imagine the whiteboard for this.
Oh yeah, I have described most of the base mechanics to you, and it is wonderful just how much of a mindfuck it is sometimes to work out. Like, okay, so we've got to get another here, but if I get out of that box, everything's destroyed, but I have to get back in. Okay, so that... Fuck.
Give me some paper. You need to write this down. You need to draw a diagram.
Oh, but it's like... It's really simple. It's a really simple art style and everything. It's very basic art, but I'm just like, this is a good puzzle game. This is not just me solving the same puzzle with different skinning that I have to in so many other games. This is like, I'm actually thinking differently about this. This is great. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed Recursed. Yeah, I suppose other games. I've been playing The Fractured Butthole this year, which was a last year game, but I got it on Switch because it was on sale.
Arguably this year.
Yep. It's more of that, which is it's really weird. It's really, really solid. There's just some bits that are like no polish whatsoever. Like every time you fast travel, if you take more than like 3 seconds, the exact same line of dialogue gets said to you.
Oh, okay.
It's like, why?
It's like looping it or something.
Yeah, you know, no, it's not all this. It's like just every time you do it, it's like it goes. It's like,
oh, okay.
In the time you could have taken this, I could have done it 6 billion times. Literally, it's like why have I heard this same dialogue 70 times in this otherwise incredibly polished game?
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of little things like that. Like, you'll have levels where they've got like some parallax stuff in the front, like during a fight, but things can go behind them. And there's no way of seeing it. Like, why? Why did you do this? Anyway, so that was up there in my enjoyment times of it. What else? So, all the VR stuff.
We had Unavowed this year.
Oh,
that was
but that's not an arguable of the year. That's just a good game.
That is this year. Oh, we're doing arguable of the year, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where's my arguable game of the year stuff?
Subnautica came out this year.
Oh, I played Undertale for the first time this year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And it was released on Switch.
It wasn't so that came
very much arguably this year.
Yep. So I played that one. Very late to the party. I think my bar had been set too high, and I didn't really think it was too special.
How far through did you get?
I finished it.
Oh, yeah.
I finished it.
I think part of the thing is that, especially the first playthrough, it wants you to not know that you can pacifist it.
But it does tell you. That was my thing with it. It's just like you're told very early on, explicitly.
Yes.
You don't have to.
Yes, but you pay more attention to them telling you that because you know that's an actual thing with the game, whilst that's more of like a twist of like, we literally told you at the beginning.
Yeah. So
if we didn't know that.
I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, I'm not going to kill anyone then. And then so I finished it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that was obvious because it told me early on. But you're right, I was sort of looking for things because I knew about it.
But now you got to do a genocide run.
Nah, I don't really care that much.
But it's much harder.
We saw, I mentioned before, but Diablo 3. That came out. Perfect fit for the Switch. I played a lot of that.
Could we give PSVR the arguable game of the year?
We could potentially, yeah.
I mean, it's our fucking thing.
we could do whatever the fuck we
can
want.
do whatever we want. Okay. So just wait. I haven't written down. So just wait. I haven't written down any awards. So The Messenger was my bullshit of the year.
Yep.
Your bullshit of the year, was it just it being Destiny again?
No, because I thought they did a good job.
No. If it doesn't mean bullshit, I mean it's your
then Destiny.
James style bullshit.
Yeah. My bullshit game of the year was Destiny 2 Forsaken.
I fucking hate you. Our arguably game of the year. Oh, it's got arguable in it. And the title PSP. Oh, thank God. This brings us to game of the year time, James.
It does.
And we might even be able to get it in under 2 hours, which is our aimed but not really seeming achievable. I've got so many games that we haven't mentioned at all, and it was a shortlisted, so I can ignore the rest of this page, I think.
Because I got more re-release stuff I played. Hellgate London.
How was the re-release of that?
So it was, I think Handsoft own it.
Yeah.
And so they basically took the single player part of their free to play version and re-released it to the Western market for I think $10. So that game was a janky mess when it came out.
It's still a
janky mess. Except it's just got these weird additions they've added to it. Like just, did you ever play the Chinese Counter-Strike?
Yes, I did actually. The Nexon one.
Yeah, the Nexon one. You know how like they took Counter-Strike and then just sort of like added shit in a really awkward way?
I had no idea what was going on when I tried to play the game.
It's not quite that far, but it's got that kind of feeling where it's like they've bolted on these kind of new things, which are like, and I think they did some rewrites as well, because I don't remember the localization or the writing being quite as bad as it was, but I think they've actually gone through and they've got some Google translated kind of like either that or the writing was originally terrible.
This game was originally in English, but we thought we could do it.
Another re-release that snuck up on me this year was Paladins. Which, so I've been playing that on Switch, and I don't want to compare it. I don't want to say it's an Overwatch ripoff because people say that, but they're not. Like Paladins are that first, and Paladins has taken stuff from Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, if Paladins had ripped off Overwatch, it might be good.
Yeah, there's things they've taken out. So I've been having a good time playing Paladins on Switch. They just had a sale on their Unlock All Characters pack for like $20, something like that. So I was like, I'll just buy that and get all the characters.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I? I like playing the game. Good old Paladins. Have more fun with it. I think it's got a better meta progression than Overwatch.
Glad you're having fun playing Paladins on the Switch.
I do have a good time.
Warframe came out on the Switch too.
Warframe came out on Switch.
What I love, so okay, this is my story with Warframe.
Yeah.
Like, how's this going to be? Download it. This runs pretty good. It doesn't control great, but I can change everything. Let's go, okay. I got my gyro assist, got everything, okay. Wow, I've got this playing so well now. This feels great. They did it. They really did it. Okay, uninstall.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to prove it could be done.
They've done well.
I'm like, I don't have time for Warframe.
If you're going to play that game, play it on PC if you can, because it's a Twitch game. don't play it on Switch unless you really have to. But they did a good job getting it on there.
I
They did an amazing
a phenomenal
job.
port.
Yeah.
Great work there.
What else did we got? Yeah, I'll mention I Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. That was another Cone re-release.
As far as like re-release HD re-releases, I mean, we have
we got Dark Souls as well.
Oh yeah. Did you play it on Switch?
I played enough of it to go, oh yeah, this is Dark Souls.
Akami came out on Switch, which is the most I've ever played Akami. I didn't realize how
many times have you bought it now?
I think we worked out that I might technically have it 4 times.
Yep.
But they weren't all bought. Sometimes they were like in packs.
Yeah.
But I originally bought it on Wii. But the thing is, because the Switch has controls and touchscreen, you get the best of all worlds, depending on how you want to play. So it's like all options. So that was really good. We had the Shadow of the Colossus remake, which was more like just a redo of art, like a huge redo of art, not an upscale. But yeah, so that was still the same game, but I don't know, it felt better with it. Yeah, I like this one. What else could fall under that? Just games I was late on, like West of Loading. Oh, Last Day of June, which I fucking love. Oh man,
I started playing it, but I felt like it's just going to make me sad.
Yeah. The ending. I mean, it's a good kind of sad.
Yeah.
But boy, I mean, I just think you did do it. It's only like 2-3 hours long maximum. But the last moment's so good. I want to hear what you do.
Okay.
I want to hear what you do. It's so good. I think about the last moment of that game so much.
Okay.
I'm like, this is so. It's like at one point, it's like very manipulative, but don't use that term in a bad way of it. It's just like, yeah, they've engineered this issue to have a very strong emotional impact, and it worked.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Good stuff. Anyway, we haven't talked about Metal Gear Survive at all.
It's on my list.
Let me put a sad face next to that one. Stuff. Okay. So what are our nominees for Game of the Year? Let me put some, and then you can add any that I miss. They'll be on yours. I'm going to put Marvel Spider. Some of these I don't expect to hang too high.
Yep.
But some of them I just want to put up. Marvel Spider-Man. Yoku's Island Express, which is a very me, but Astrobot.
Yep. That's one I've got on my list.
Moss. Have you actually played Moss yet?
No.
Oh, yeah, I highly recommend it. Okay, this might be the biggest jump for me because it is not a well-designed game, but I think it's a wonderful game. Pool Panic.
Oh, God.
I love it.
All right.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's like no gameplay design, but it's so funny to play. I laugh so much.
I love that this
it.
is above Red Dead.
Oh, fuck yeah. Red Dead's got nothing. Smash Brothers.
Yep.
Which we haven't discussed at all.
No.
But we're both playing a bit. Tetris Effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Tetris. Messenger. Wonder Song.
Didn't play that.
You didn't play it's James. Is
it Loom?
No, the second stick is exclusively for singing. Actually, we might have played this after they stopped the show. Oh shit, I need to talk about Wonder Song. Okay, so one stick sings, and you can sing at any time, and the world reacts to you singing, including cutscenes. There's also a button for dancing.
Not a stick for dancing.
You collect dances throughout the game. You can dance at any time, including cutscenes.
Yes.
You can be at the lowest point of the game, at the saddest moment.
And you can dance and sing.
You can do a little jig with the saddest face on your face at all time. It's fucking amazing. It's so good.
Okay, Paul.
Actually, it has one of the loveliest moments.
Yep.
This isn't a spoiler for the game. This is a spoiler for the product.
Mm-hmm.
So this is after you collect everything that's collectible in the game, and there's a secret thing. So if you really, really just like, oh, I don't want to know about that. It's not game related. It's not story related. It's just the little unlock. So 1 minute jump will just clog your ear or something. So you unlock it all. You get to the secret place. You go there and you find the developer. Just a little representation in the game. You walk up to him and he says, "Thank you for playing my game. Thank you for caring enough to find the secret. It really means a lot to me. This was a lot of work. Thanks so much for everything. I'll talk to you about how I made the game if you want. You can hang around and just hang out, and you can just keep talking to get more stuff from the game." So the secret unlock, the thing you ultimately get, is just thanks from the developer, which I thought was the loveliest sentiment I've seen in a game in fucking ages. I was like, this feels really genuine and heartfelt. It's a very genuine game. It was great. Yeah. Anyway, so that's on the short list, but not going to hang too high, I don't think, because especially since you haven't played it. Into the Breach.
Yep, definitely chuck that one on there.
Celeste won a bunch of awards as well.
Didn't play that one.
You didn't play Celeste?
It's a platformer. They tend to go under my radar.
It's true.
It's got to be a good platformer for it to...
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it's good, but you know me.
Did you know it's about mental illness, which makes it better, James?
I don't care. I'm sorry.
That's where I say the story's good.
Yeah. I'm
and it's
glad.
actually a really good characters, but I kind of hate anything that's like, oh, it's always like a caveat. It's like, but, it's more impressive because it's about anxiety. It's like,
no.
Like everyone, we're all fucked up.
Yeah. Mental illness game, I mean, I liked it in Setsuna because it felt very part of what it was.
Yeah, I think we talked about it at the time, though, that I don't necessarily like the focus on it as an external thing with it. I like with it's not I Am Setsuna, it's Senua Hellblade.
Yeah, sorry, that's the one. Yeah, Hellblade.
We do mix those two
up.
We do. Senua's Sacrifice. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
That one.
Not I Am Setsuna, which is the
different.
Square,
different thing. Yeah.
But we've made that mistake like 100 times. I think it's like really good to like design the game with that in mind, but almost it's a disservice to then talk too overtly about it. It's like no, it's just
well, because I felt like it was that game was trying to normalize it, and so to kind of bring it up as a point of why it exists is sort of like, well, it's not really normalizing it then, isn't it? It's sort of
that sort of thing. And I think sometimes it's like we're still at a point with a lot of these things. It's a big issue with representation and everything. That the fact we make any points about representation is actually disservice to representation.
You want representation, you don't want pandering.
Yes.
I think that's the kind of distinction.
It's sort of one of the... I've been rewatching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and because they're trying to make a reboot at the moment, and the only thing they've announced about the cast is that it's going to be very diverse. I'm like, well, it should be, because that's just... There's lots of diverse people in the world, but it also shouldn't be the selling point of why I care about it. I was watching it thinking like, you know what would really make Buffy fucking amazing? If all these teenagers looked like teenagers.
Oh,
how weird would that fucking be?
Yeah.
It's like, we've got an actual 15-year-old girl fucking a 200-year-old as like her first sexual experience, and then fighting all these monsters and everything. It's like that would be really confronting and potentially interesting, but they won't do that. They'll be like adult teenagers, and it's like, you're not going to take any risk with it. You're just going to tell me that it's important because everyone has different representation. I mean, hopefully it's good, but that's not the selling point. And I understand that it's still like, we're at a point historically that sometimes we are trying to still advocate for things, so we do need to talk about it. But I also kind of wish we didn't have to. Yeah. But that's just me and
that's a fair
blinded world where everyone's fine, right? What do you mean you care about how somebody is? Are they a dickhead? That's where we've gone too far, where we start advocating for dickhead rights. That's where I'm like, no. They're the people I'd like to judge. See, this is the content you've all been missing.
What else we got? Phantom Doctrine. That was the XCOM 80s spy.
So that really hit for you, did it?
That was it. I really enjoyed that one.
No, I had to remind myself.
Yeah. So that was one that kind of got on there.
I don't think that'll push to the top, but I think it's sort of like you just bring out highlights at the moment. Yeah.
Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5, Paul.
No.
Far Cry 5.
No.
Far Cry.
Can I also put a smiley face next to it for most disappointing?
Far Cry 5.
Fuck yeah.
Far Cry 5.
No, it doesn't need a smiley face, but it also, man, it does not hang. It is the lowest of these. So
Far Cry 5.
Do you want is it? Because it's not so much smiley. The sad face isn't necessarily for being bad. It's for wasted potential.
Far Cry 5.
Most ballless pussy ass game ever.
So much fun with that game.
Of course you did. Man, that should have hung with bloody Fallout 76.
Nah, because it's genuinely awesome. I love that game so much. We got like God of War. It's got to be on there.
Literally, we didn't mention God of War.
Yeah. Monster Hunter World.
Oh, yeah.
Into the Breach.
Yeah, I already got that.
Yep. Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, because it is this year. Yeah.
I did play a chunk of Octopath.
Yeah, I was almost picking that up in sales at the moment, but I haven't actually played it myself yet.
I'm in Smash. They're sort of like the ones I've kind of pulled out. Obvious winner being Far Cry 5.
No. Like, you only have to get a decision between Oh my fucking god! You literally have your number one. Fuck you, James. Fuck you, James. I remember you were mentioning that the other day we were talking about it, and I said like, "Man, it's like remember Far Cry 5 came out the year? Man, everyone forgot about that thing after like 2 weeks." And you like looked at me like, "What do you mean? It's amazing.
It's so
like,
good. I love it so much."
And I'm like,
I'm so excited for New
moment to
Dawn.
moment gameplay is okay, but I mean, it's so fucking stupid. And that ending, and you're like,
I love the ending so much.
Surprised me, so ballsy, right? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's a way out level stupid ending.
I fucking love the ending, and I love how it's led on to New Dawn. I'm so excited for New Dawn.
It gave us a canonical ending because there were the two endings, both stupid as the other.
I don't agree with the non-canon. Yeah. It's the canonical one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I suppose
I was just trying to remember what the other one was.
Is the better ending, but still,
it's so good.
So stupid.
I loved it.
So
I love that game so much.
I can't believe that's actually your number one there. Well,
it's the game I had the most fun with this year.
Okay. Well, see, I wasn't structuring it, but let's structure a bit. So since I'll change the way we do our vetoes.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So your number one and my number 100. No. It's not. I quite liked it. Yeah. I'll put it at number 5. That's as far I can push your number one down. There you go. We got a decision there.
Okay.
And we're not really going to number this because it's always painful trying to work it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are we feeling? You've got your list there.
So what do we?
Can I look at your list and I'll see if I want to agree with anything.
Okay.
So I think God of War is pretty high.
Yep.
Okay. Man, now we've got to do some maths.
Okay.
What else we got there that I disagree with? So it's interesting that you got Unavowed on there. I really enjoyed Unavowed.
I put it on there because it was the first adventure game I've played in years, which I felt pushed the genre forward, but still managed to kind of keep its feet.
Have you played any of their other stuff like Blackwell?
Yeah, I played a little bit there as well, but this one I felt was... Like, I think they're good at it because they've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. So Unavowed was sort of like a paranormal spook squad.
Yeah, not really so much. Maybe like Angel or something. Like it.
Yeah, and the whole game's broken up to a few mission structures. Yeah. And you can pick or choose what people you take on each mission. You're only allowed a couple of people, and they've all got different abilities, and that's both good and bad because you can't really miss out on much content other than if you take the wrong people and there's like person-specific content on that area, you might miss out on it. But honestly, they normally just bring that person onto that scene.
Yeah.
Just go.
I think that structurally as an adventure game, I thought it was really good. And I think
structurally it's fun. I think my biggest complaint about it was that they have in each scenario, they basically have at least one moral choice of some sort where you get to make a decision. And I felt those were generally really good questions but when you get to the end game, it kind of suggests that there was actually a right solution to do for all these things. Like,
no, because
there shouldn't be a gameplay interpretation of making those things. Yeah. It should just be a narrative reason for those things. I'm like, okay, because and I sort of stuck by it. I'm like, no, some of those people I made the right fucking choice with. Like, no, I'm allowed to be mean. I'm allowed to be harsh sometimes. That seems like part of what this world is. But I really enjoyed the world building and storytelling. I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so that's why I made it on my list.
Yeah. It's good. Oh, no, I'd like to see it go up there. Okay. Oh, God. How do we even make it number 1? I don't know. I put Far Cry 5 is number 5. Our number 5 of the year.
You actually let it stay there.
Fuck, I don't care. Who gives a shit? God, game of the years.
Okay, all right.
Meaningless. There's a reason for us to talk about things that are important.
Look,
good.
If I was going to pick one, which I honestly think should be at number 1 for me. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, try to strip you out of that list and what you think is the best game in there.
I want to say Into the Breach.
Into the Breach was what I was thinking.
Just because it's so tight. It looks good. The puzzles are good. Like it's so well designed. The user interface is phenomenal, especially working at such a low resolution, with so few pixels. There's so much when I play that game. It's one of the things I look at, and just from artistic game perspective, it's so well put together.
It is a simple sort of thing that we've seen before, but never in this format. Every time you take a turn, you know exactly what's going to happen the next turn. You know what enemy's going to do what, in what order,
where they're going to appear.
So it just makes it makes a game that has a lot of random elements, makes every move feel like a puzzle game.
It's the crazy thing, the thing that like blows my mind with it, the design of it, is that 90% of the time it feels like there's a solution.
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter what turn I'm on. It's like it might become a case of like, what am I sacrificing to solve it? But I always feel like,
but that's like a chess thing.
Yeah,
it's like not every move is you like getting better. You may sacrifice, but it's still you're winning the overall war.
And I always find if I look at it long enough, I can find the best solution.
Yes,
and that's where from a game design perspective, it's probably the most solid on my list because it's just so well balanced and put together. I find it it's high up there. It's got to be high up there for me.
I pretty much looking at the lists again, and then it's like as far as like impact on both of us playing as much, and as far as just a game overall, I actually think it's a clear winner. I think it's like, what complaints do I have about it? Like literally nothing.
The only complaint I'd have is people make comparisons to FTL. And
it's not,
but it's a different thing.
It's very different.
And through the lens of FTL, it's like, oh, okay, maybe like the story isn't there, or like the longevity of like, I want to play this narrative of like, but that's not what the game is.
Yeah,
it's a series of chess puzzles, and they give you different pieces which mix up the mechanics
and all those different squads. Like everyone's like a completely new game. It's like, here's a whole bunch of new tactics, and you think, why would I play with this? This is stupid, and then it becomes your favorite squad.
Yeah,
it's like Into the Breach is phenomenally designed. And it's executed flawlessly.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful game. And I think it's our number one of the year.
Yeah, I'd give it to that.
After Spyro.
And then Far Cry 5. I mean, honestly, they're so close, a Monster Hunter and God of War for me. Like, because they're both also really good.
Far Cry 5 is eligible for James's time-wasty, time-sink-looty, grindy bullshit.
Oh, can I replace that one out then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Destiny 2. You're good and all, but Far Cry 5, James's bullshit, looty, waste of time game.
Yeah,
I had so much fun playing that game.
Yeah, I think. Okay, we solidify the names.
Okay,
so James's waste of time of the year,
Far Cry 5.
Paul's indie bullshit,
Messenger?
The Messenger.
Yep.
Best arguable game of the year, PlayStation VR, and game of the year, Into the Breach.
Done.
This is our most solid list we've ever done. This is fucking amazing. Great work. Well, that's like, there's still shitloads of stuff into this year that we still haven't covered, and I'm sure it'll just fall into the miasma as we talk about stuff as we go forward. The show will exist in some form in the next year. We haven't solidified what that will be. We'll probably do a show next week of our
we'll do a deal looking
stuff.
forward to.
Yes. Again, if you are at all interested in having some involvement with the show, we are just, we want fresh blood and just passion and people that just love games of all sorts. And, that's what this mainly is. An excuse to talk about games and an excuse to share things with people that, I'm always shocked when somebody doesn't know about games. But then it's like, oh, wow, people just don't sit around reading.
No, of course they don't.
They're like, literally, my RSS feed.
They see Fallout 76 on the side of the bus. No, they're not. There wasn't much advertising for 76, was there?
I don't think
there was. Yeah, they see the game on the side of the bus.
Well,
most people.
So someone was talking about how much of people game, and then they were complaining about someone talking about this shitty. It's like, oh, this bloody little mouse game. Like, Moss? It's not a small game. What the fuck are you talking about? That's like mid-tier. Idiot. I'll give you some small games. Let's get on there.
Here's the 14 games I got in this $1 bundle.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh man, if I included those in all my stuff, although I have stopped on my, because that's actually the huge penetration of Steam has killed the bundle market as well. Because it is just unplayable shit most of the time. Yeah. Although my favorite thing recently has been Indie Gala on Facebook, because they really got into the hentai scene recently. Okay. And they just keep putting it as their promoted advertised posts. And it's a combination of incredibly thirsty people and a combination of people absolutely aghast that they dared advertise this on their Facebook feed. And every time I laugh so much. I mean, they probably shouldn't.
Probably not.
Because sometimes it's very explicit titles and sometimes with very explicit pictures. I'm like, probably shouldn't be here.
My favorite is when there's a bit of subtlety to what's going on.
I like, there was one about like girls with cream or something. They're like,
It's
oh,
like
okay.
bakers or something like that.
No, because it was like, oh, I guess it pretends that like it's like a baking thing, and then like it's the innuendo. It's like, no, there was no innuendo. it was just
right in your Facebook feed.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Probably shouldn't be chucking that in your advertisements.
I'm not the boss of them. Okay, so thank you for watching our Game of the Year 2018. I hope you enjoyed it. No, not bother. I did have a list of games that came out that I didn't get to play. But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I'll do some quick shout outs. I will just do that.
So, stuff that wasn't eligible because it couldn't go in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bard's Tale 4, wanted to check out. Spider-Man, I haven't played.
Spider-Man's real good.
Star Control Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Soul Calibur 6.
We didn't talk about Starlink.
No, we didn't. Starlink was pretty good, though. I haven't played Ashen, haven't played Artifact, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Mario Tennis
I haven't
Aces.
played Ashen either.
Battlefield 5 I didn't play. Labo I didn't play. Oh, actually, no, I did play a little bit of that. Yeah. 2 Point Hospital is another one. Blops 4 Blackout I actually did want to play a little bit more of, but it's too expensive for what it is.
I wanted to play some Mutant League Zero, but...
Yeah.
Not Mutant League, wasn't Mutant Year Zero.
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah, Mutant League Zero, that would just be like the origins of that football game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, other stuff, it doesn't really matter. We got our solid list.
Yeah.
It's great.
Super Seducer 2 came out. Super Seducer
So did
2?
Super Seducer.
Oh, they were both out this year, were they? Yeah, I've still got... I've got... Because you sent me a key for Super Seducer 2, which is now shamefully attached to my my Steam list, but they haven't even installed it.
I thought it was funny. They basically just... Because the way that it normally works with PR groups is that they say, hey, we've got a game coming out. Give your expression of interest if you want to review it or give a key. Super Seducer doesn't do that. They just go like, here's some key.
Please talk about it. We want some controversy.
Like,
please.
I'm not biting again.
Yeah.
Not after the first time. I've had my fill.
Yeah, you had your fill of misogyny.
There's always more.
There's always
always room for more misogyny. Okay, thank you for watching or listening to.
That's a line to end on, isn't it?
You can catch us on our website, 8.5bit.com, our Twitter and Facebook. Please like and share anything like that. Subscribe to iTunes. And if you do, please leave a review because reviews help us share the love. And join our Discord if you want. It gets real thirsty in there.
Oh, yeah, boy.
So we'll see you into the preach. That makes no sense. No. I've been your host, Paul.
And I've been James.
Kaka Boo Boo Balaya.
What
is that? That's someone else's. I'm stealing.
I don't know. I just made mine up.
I think it's just a podcast.
I said, did you like my line?
Oh, they say it on a Video Game Hot Dog. Much better podcast than this.
I tried to make fresh material.
You are fresh.
With my Shabba Shabba Bling Blong.
Man, haven't talked about movies.
No, next time. The new movie podcast.
So Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Sucked.
Saw
Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I like that.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
So good.
Yeah.
It's got a story in there somewhere, I bet.
Yeah, but looked...
I mean, the story's clear. It's fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it's like, looks amazing. Bye.
That's what all the kids want.
Streaming is for the youth. We're too old.
Yep.